Friends, welcome. September 17th, 2023, Virtual Strangers episode 199 is live. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, are my good friends. What's up, Ruuts?
Well, I'm doing good, actually. Now that we got all that, Wes jinxed us. He said you were going to have some kind of issues. It can't be that easy. And then Brad had audio issues during the try. I would say timing was perfect, Brad. Just got it out of the way, and now we're set. So we're good.
And, of course, my good friend Brad. Brad, thank you for joining us on this very special milestone episode 199. How's it going, brother?
Good. I been out and about all day, and I got home just in time to do this show. So I'm all buzzed. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
All right, Brad's buzzed. Yeah, I saw you were at some kind of event this weekend. What did you go check out?
Yeah, I went to a furry convention on Friday.
Oh yeah. I saw you tweeted or something
Yeah. I was, I had friends that have been begging me to go to some furry thing with them, and I said, if you'll pay for it, I caved in if you'll pay for it, and I went.
Did you wear one of the big mascot head things?
No. You know what? Even though I lived in Orlando like my whole life for this Disney World, I've always been afraid of mascots, people dressed up as mascots. So
it's
interesting as an adult to still feel those like weird parts of your brain that just like activate like that slight fear.
It's a healthy
one cool
fear.
thing they did have though, real quick, is they had something that's been catching on to a lot of like live convention events is like they have like these, they call them gateways or portals, where they have a live stream from a VR chat world. They show like a live, basically people can be all together showing talking to people in the real world, and then the real world is streamed to that VR chat world, and it's just you're just like waving to virtual creatures but in real life, and they're waving to IRL creatures in the virtual life, and it's pretty neat. It's really cool.
Yeah, I saw that. You posted something on it. It looked pretty cool, actually. Like, I didn't know what it was at first until I saw you walk up to it, and I was like, oh, that's a working like mirror portal, so to speak. It's pretty cool.
So
Ruuts,
I was gonna say there's an echo. Apparently, I guess you're gonna address that. I'm not seeing it, and people are saying it's only when we're talking, not when Brad's talking. So I don't know if there's is there really an echo, or like only a few people are saying something. So I don't know.
Yeah. So chat, first of all, tell us, chat, if there is an echo.
Do you have two of those things?
It is coming from me. Let me see if I can fix it real quick. I might be able to.
Do you have two ninjas open maybe by somehow? And it's like,
see if this works.
I don't know why that would do that though.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't been able to get these.
I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
Spry says he doesn't hear it anymore.
Yeah. So they said it went away, Brad. So don't touch anything. I think we're good. Anyway, so we're back, ladies and gents, as promised on Sunday. We did invite our friend Brad here to join us and talk, because I've been a little bit out of the loop lately, and I've seen headlines. I watched about 20 minutes of your hour-and-a-half stream, Brad. So I've got a slight idea what's going on here, but I'm not actually up to date on the details. So I'm kind of glad that you're joining us. The kind of vibe that I'm getting, the feeling I'm getting from the bits and pieces of your content that I have picked up, is that you've kind of recently discovered what pretty much was the missing link in all of this stuff that was kind of hiding in plain sight all along, and something revealed itself to you over the last couple of weeks that kind of tied everything together. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, it's actually hilarious that it took this long to find that missing piece, but that's how this crazed way of figuring things out works, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's been like 2 years now that we've 2 years since me and my nerds have started this Deckard obsession, data mining thing, and trying to piece all the things together. And it feels like Well, not to be too speculative, but it feels like right near the finish line of something happening, we finally get the missing piece that makes all the pieces actually fit together in a more discerning way. We knew for a while there was going to be like this split compute architecture of some sort going on. I think we've been pushing that narrative for a while now. We just didn't think it would be this way.
Right. We thought that there could possibly be some kind of a puck mechanism or something similar like some of the things that HTC's been doing, but the puck has very recently become a box, right?
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because before I go into details, one thing I want to point, since I see you have on the stream, which I'm really glad you have this picture on the stream, that box on the right. So what we found out literally this week as well is that so even during the Valve Index, Valve wanted to release a VR focused box or VR. A Valve employee called it a VR appliance box, which would have been like a new version of the Steam machine. The first Steam machines were like 2013 announced, came out around 2015, and then that picture you see there was a project that was supposed to release with the Index, but they decided that Proton and some of the other software stack stuff that at that time was just not ready. So they actually scrapped that box here. Now, the interesting thing about Valve, though, is they always like to revisit the ideas they scrap, and I think with what they've kind of shown with the Steam Deck, they developed all their stuff for like Steam OS, Proton way more, and all the stuff they've been doing like recently has been extremely VR focused. And I guess at this point I should kind of go into detail of like why we have come to the fact that they're probably building some sort of consoleized PC of some sort. So back in February, I got an email from a viewer, and they were like, "Hey, I found this code name called Galileo, and I did some data mining around it. It was this new hardware." The funny thing is, this person thought this Galileo thing was a new Steam controller. And he brought all of his firmware findings and all that stuff in February, and me and my data mining group of nerds did actually spend like probably a few hours that day digging into it. And at that time, we didn't really get enough information to discern that it was a new device at all. We just assumed at that time, like, oh, maybe it was just like some weird dev kit or early dev version of the Steam Deck, because it came from a lot of stuff related to Steam Deck and all that stuff. But more recently, there was some new updates being pushed to Linux 6.6 kernel, and it had references to this Galileo device, and more specifically, it had references to a new APU or AMD SoC that is different from the one in Steam Deck, and the way they named it sounds more powerful or something. Steam Deck APU is called Aerith, which is a character from Final Fantasy VII. And this new Galileo device is going to be running on a version of Van Gogh called Sephiroth, which is the like big main antagonist of the same game. Right. So when we were just kind of thinking that, we were putting all that things together, like, what the heck is Valve actually going to release? Like, a Steam controller is probably not going to have a APU inside. That doesn't really make sense. And while this was all happening, like maybe a day later after we started redigging into that, someone else from my Discord, who is from South Korea, noticed that Valve actually went to go certify a new device, which usually you don't certify devices unless you're trying to get it ready or certified to actually launch in that country. So we're like, okay, so this device has an APU. It has a 5 gigahertz connection, which is like Wi-Fi 6 type stuff here at least. This doesn't make sense for a Steam controller. It could be a Steam Deck, or like some revision. But then we went back to the Galileo stuff that we data mined and started like trying to look at it fresh. And eventually we came to a realization where this device, Galileo device, doesn't have like a screen, so it can't be. It doesn't make sense for it to be a Steam Deck. Actually, I should say it. Okay, it does have a screen. I'm sorry, but the screen is very tiny, like ridiculously tiny. Something that you wouldn't play games on.
Right.
And more interesting than that as well is it had a touch. It was a touch, like a small touch screen of some sort in the firmware, and it had a proximity sensor. Which the proximity sensor was the most confusing aspect of everything because Steam Deck
Right.
doesn't use a proximity sensor. They could have made a new Steam Deck with a proximity sensor, maybe just like when it's covered or you put it in a bag, it turns off the display. That could have happened. At one point, we were wondering if, hey, maybe the proximity sensor is for a headset, which headsets have proximity sensors all the time. But then we remembered that there was this patent that is also on screen here on the left where this console device, or at least the updated version of this console device, actually had a proximity sensor purely to light up a little button, which would have actually been like a tiny display in a sort of firmware type of way whenever a user got close to it. So it's like power down, user starts walking up to it, button lights up. And we just kind of connected all these pieces as well with like what we've been like seeing with Steam VR, what we've been seeing with Valve's ideas of not just doing VR gaming, but there's a huge emphasis on playing 2D games in a novel way in a VR headset. There's been a ton of updates in Steam VR and Linux, or I should say Steam OS, and all of that has been going on. So we're like, okay, this might be the way for Valve to actually enter the living room while also pushing their VR ambitions. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff you've been saying lately about the overlay system. You've been talking about that for a little while. I got particularly excited when I saw that they're starting to support reshade with it, and I saw your CRT shader that you had applied in there, and it all of a sudden got my wheels turning about what will undoubtedly be the coolest way to play retro emulators, right? Because now you can actually have a CRT that looks like a CRT in VR, which is pretty sweet.
I'm so freaking glad that happened, by the way, because I literally made like a month and a half ago. I made a whole video because we actually didn't get so GameScope, just as a basic understanding, is a compositor that Valve uses on the Steam Deck. So whenever you boot into the handheld mode, everything that's running on the Steam Deck is running on that compositor because it's very low latency. It's a very low overhead, which is important when you're trying to do mobile hardware. To get just very gaming focused, right? Try to get more performance out of that game. And the one reason why this was kind of important to get working in VR was if today you play any games with the desktop view built into Steam VR, or just another overlay app like OVR Toolkit or all that stuff, all of those ways to play these 2D games or access your 2D desktop is, it's actually recording your screen and sending that screen recording over to your headset. So there's actually a bit of latency that happens during that. Now with the GameScope stuff, that actually completely surpasses that screen recording and actually just directly renders the game and the view with very low latency in your headset and at the actual headset's refresh rate, which is another thing. If your monitor refresh rate on your PC is like, I don't know, 60 hertz or 120 hertz, it's still sending that same refresh rate to your HMD, which might be different, which will cause like screen tearing, all that stuff. And the cool thing about GameScope, as you just said, is Valve lets you apply stuff like FSR1 on the Steam Deck, which still would be applicable if you played flat games in a GameScope overlay. But as you said, Reshade was literally just added last week, and I was saying in a video a month and a half ago when we first got GameScope running in an overlay, is I can just see, I dreamed of adding a lot of cool shaders to any screen I can put around me in my virtual or AR environment, whether I'm playing games or doing desktop stuff, and it literally just happened this week. It's now completely possible. And you can do a lot of really, as you said, your wheels got turning, because you can think like right now we got just a basic CRT screen shader, but there could be a day where we could use the same reshade stuff that lets people play those 2D games and make them stereoscopic. That can be built into this headset and the console thing. The sky's the limit with that kind of stuff.
Let me ask you this: if it was built in, would it still hook it in a sense? Because like a lot of time, that's the kind of frustrating thing with reshade is if a game doesn't want you to hook it with a cheat that's got really strict anti-cheat, you could get banned. And so like it'd be great if there was a way around that, because I just want to play it in 3D. I'm not trying to like cheat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That'd be cool.
No, yeah. So from what I understand right now, the current state of reshade, you are limited right now on what you can do, because I'm sure they're very worried about getting people banned just by using the GameScope stuff. So it doesn't actually hook fully into games yet. It doesn't like accept the depth buffer. So some of that stuff, some of that 3D stuff is not actually possible today with what they've done. But I'm sure another interesting thing about like accepting depth data is so Valve has been updating the Open VR SDK, and they've been doing a lot of stuff with allowing applications, whether I don't know if it's just VR games or 2D games, to actually send that depth buffer across Steam VR, which has not been something possible for Steam VR ever. It's been something that's been begged for a very long time for Steam VR, because even the Oculus runtime back in like 2017, 2018 added it, which allowed some capabilities such like you could have it, since it could take the depth buffer, you could have overlays rendered behind and in front of objects in your game, and also you could have a better reprojection system, because when you have that depth data from the game, usually you use that depth data to also improve your reprojection, because Steam VR's motion smoothing, not the best, not the worst, but still far from the best. So there's a lot of stuff going on there with depth data, like that I wonder if like, hey, maybe Valve will do something related to that for 2D games. But yeah, the GameScope thing right now currently does not accept depth buffer, so anything they do with that, with reshade, will not affect anything to get you banned at this moment. So
the important thing, Ruuts, is that this does lay the framework, and we've often talked about Sony and why don't they work up some kind of 3D cinema mode for flat games through PlayStation VR. And it's really ironic that the first console possibly that will have this kind of a feature will actually be a Steam VR console, which is kind of crazy. It's also kind of crazy, Brad, that this kind of epiphany has eluded us for so long, just because we're looking through the prism of PC gaming, right? Because if you go to anyone else and say, I have a mystery device, it runs on an AMD APU and it has wireless capability, people are going to quickly say console, right? But because this is Valve and because this is Steam, people just never really thought about it, right? Nobody ever considered that they would do this again, right? Because they've already tried it once and it didn't quite come to fruition. So I have so many thoughts here with this now. So are you at all worried, Brad? Because it's been pretty obvious for the last couple of months that something's about to happen, something's about to be announced.
Yeah.
Are you at all concerned now that maybe Deckard might not be right around the corner and it might actually be this Steam VR console box instead?
So I feel like so here's the thing. If it is a Steam VR focused box, which I still kind of feel it is, even though I know it's not like mass market where like, hey, maybe non-VR gamers want to adopt this or whatever. If it is a VR focused thing, which one reason I think it's VR focused is, okay, I'll give a couple reasons why I think it's VR focused. One, the amount of the crazy amount of VR focused features being built right now in Steam Client, in Steam OS, in obviously Steam VR, all these things that connect together. It feels almost that Valve is in this sort of crunch mode for whatever is happening with this hardware that I feel is like all VR focus. Now another thing is we have a system menu, which ever since this new like idea that Valve might do like a Steam VR console or whatever came out, we started looking at the system menu that we've been talking about for so long, and we've been kind of realizing, hey, it has the same exact system menu as the Steam Deck. It allows you to upgrade firmware, update Steam VR, and then the third menu is an internet menu that allows you to create a hotspot purely for VR. And we kind of realized all these settings kind of are probably for a console rather than the actual HMD, because HMD is not going to want to do mobile hotspots. HMD is probably not going to be running Steam VR if they do this dual architecture thing. It'll be the compute unit or the console or whatever. And when we think about that, we also feel from a UI, UX, user experience sort of thing, it doesn't make sense to have Steam VR have this system menu if this thing was more similar to Steam Deck in the fact that it, how do I put this? So Steam Deck, you click the system menu, it goes into a bunch of options, and then you go to do a firmware upgrade from there. But Steam VR is its own client. You literally would have to boot into Steam VR, and then you would have pretty much the same exact menu with the same firmware upgrade stuff and the internet stuff. It doesn't make sense that they would have, it doesn't make sense that they would separate that. So what I believe this console thing really is VR focused, because it'll literally boot in the Steam VR, and all the stuff related to firmware upgrading the thing and starting your personal hotspot, that it will be like a Steam VR OS if that's the way I think of it. Now, this will still run on Linux. SteamOS is a Linux-based device. It doesn't make sense to me personally that they would release a device like this, and for basically HMDs that there's like no HMDs that I can think of that support Linux drivers natively. Even the Oculus Quest, you have to use ALVR right now, and that's it. There's no Oculus drivers for Linux, so it only makes sense in my brain. If they release a console like this, they would have to release an HMD with it to get people on board.
So do you think it's exclusively going to be for VR use? I understand that they would, that it may have been their primary motivation to create a box for VR, but do you think it will exclusively be VR? Because it's very possible that they started out, developing this thing as a VR console, but then said, you know what, this thing's going to be powerful enough to run flat games. Why can't it do both? So do you think it will be exclusively for VR, or do you think that it's just as likely that it just is like a PlayStation? It can do flat or it can do VR, but launching with a new headset to attach to it theoretically wirelessly.
So my reason, there's also the thing when I kind of go back to the beginning where with the Valve Index they wanted to release a new Steam machine focused on VR, and they probably, even though Proton still wasn't developed back then, they probably could have, instead of scrapping that whole hardware project and firing a lot of the employees on that project, they probably could have released that even back then as like a game console sort of thing. I really do think they kind of covered a lot of their bases here if they just have something focused on the baseline versus Steam VR. I really, and I have to also admit there's a lot of like copium stuff in my brain, because no one's done anything like this. No one has like developed a console purely focused on VR, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized like you can do quite a lot of interesting stuff if you actually did build a console from the ground up purely on focus for VR usage. Like we have PSVR 2, which is great for the people that enjoy it, but obviously the PS5 is far from like a VR focused device, right, and software stack. I think what we've seen from Meta with the Quest, even though the Quest firmware is different every version and some things break, it's been kind of cool to see like what of all these VR focused operating systems could be. So I really am hopeful that my feelings on this are right, that there's going to be this low end tier capable hardware known as the Steam Deck that you can still plug into a TV and do console stuff on anyway. And then for the Steam VR stuff, they start pushing things a little bit more toward that direction. Yeah, I have trouble saying yes or no to this because I really feel that Valve is a weird company. They've already shown a lot of success with Steam Deck, and I'm sure that they do want to get into the living room one day, but I think they also want to push some of the things for VR that they just haven't been able to. Yeah.
So where do we expect this thing to land in terms of capability? Because, it's great if they're going to give us a console that kind of has PC capability, but the more capable it is, the more it's going to cost. And one of the most alluring things, the thing that makes consoles so great, is the value proposition. You can get one for $500 and get performance of a mid-tier PC. Where do we expect this to land? And I know this is pure speculation at this point. Do you think that they would do like a couple different models and maybe let people have the option to get a high-end one or a low-end one? Or do you think that we're just going to fall somewhere in the middle there, something that runs VR, on medium settings or something, in that ballpark?
I feel there's going to be mostly like a single SKU in terms of performance level. Like so the way it sounds from like the Linux pushes and everything, that it is based on Van Gogh, which is the architecture in the Steam Deck. But obviously, if they do go for this console thing, they might be able to. Again, this is speculation because we don't actually have that much information on the actual chip.
Right.
And in general, these very custom products from AMD, including the products that would later come out for like PS5 or Xbox One, all that custom stuff, they don't get leaked as easy as general market chips. So I don't really know. Now the interesting thing is the architecture of Van Gogh is not too different from what's in the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, for example. So if they did scale up that chip, it could get around there. We don't really know the performance level that they're targeting here. Now, I'm glad you have that thing up on your stream here, because this is another thing why I feel this console device is focused on VR. So this tweet that is up here is a list of all the games that Valve has been adding to this, what's known as a Steam sub. And Steam subs are used mainly as like they put things in a Steam sub behind like a game key, right? And if they give units out to developers or maybe press at some point, they can give people the dev key to try out all the different titles that are there. The interesting thing is the first title that they added to this sub was Half-Life Alyx, of course. And they've been adding other interesting games on there, such as Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just basically all the stuff that you probably would want to play on a PC VR device. So I don't know how powerful it's going to be, but they are targeting some pretty needy software titles. Now, of course, the device is going to have eye tracking and all that stuff, so that helps. But again, that I don't know how developers will even take advantage of the eye tracking if they have to do stuff in their software to update for that. There's still a lot of questions about that. Yeah.
So interesting. So, best case scenario, this is a moderately powered, moderately priced Steam VR box that launches with a theoretically compact wireless micro OLED headset, which is optional. Well, let me ask you this. Do we expect that this will only work with a Valve headset, or do you think that this is going to be something that anyone's going to be able to plug their PCVR hardware into and use.
That's kind of like the one problem right now with this device is I know I have high suspicions that Valve would love people, even who have a Quest 2 or buy a Quest 3, to just be able to buy this console and use that device with it. Valve doesn't care what headset people buy. They just want you to buy games on their store. That's always how they've been. People think that Valve has been crying that Meta's been selling all these Quest 2. Valve is laughing at the bank when they see their freaking those charts with all the Quest 2s connected to Steam. They love that crap. Now, releasing a console with a low price barrier to entry that can connect to a Quest 2 would solve a lot of their issues of getting people into PCVR. I think they have Meta subsidizing hardware for their store, but there is still steps that I don't really understand how they get there because, as I said, Oculus drivers currently do not support Linux. Virtual Desktop, they don't have a virtual desktop streamer that works on Linux right now. The only thing they can actually use is ALVR to stream from Linux, SteamVR to a Quest 2 or Quest 3 or Quest Pro right now. There is one other option that could happen, but I think it would be very difficult for Valve to get this situation onto the Meta store. But just like how Valve has kind of put the Steam Link app on like the Apple App Store and like the Google Play Store that allows you to stream your 2D games to your phone, theoretically, they probably could develop an app like that that would run on a Meta Quest, but I think it would be a very uphill battle to get Meta to allow such a software on their store. So yeah, there's still a lot of questions there of how that works. I don't think they want it to be their hardware only if they release this device.
Right. That would be so antithetical to the kind of Valve philosophy, right? That they've always been, open source against, the walled garden approach. So it would be weird for them to kind of do a 180 and all of a sudden put out products that fall within that category. So let's say that Deckard is a headset that is intended to connect wired or wirelessly to this Steam box. Is there functionality in this thing that you know of that would be exclusive to the box, or would we, in theory, if we had a strong enough PC and a fast enough router, be able to use the wireless headset with our PC?
Yeah, for sure. They're still building all the VR Link drivers and stuff for Windows as well. But there is one benefit that they might push if they release this console, and there's actually a whole patent that discusses this benefit of their low latency wireless patent. So Windows. So let me first answer the question. Yeah, you would most definitely be able to connect this device wirelessly to Windows with this VR Link software. But Windows kind of sucks. I should say their network stack sucks. If you've ever tried to start up a hotspot on your Windows PC and connect your VR headset to it, you'll notice that the Windows network stack sucks. Like, you literally can't do it. It's just like a mess. And there's this patent that just actually explains that if they built the software stack from their own Linux build, they could literally skip all the stuff related to firewall, IP checks, all that stuff, and of course do the direct connection to this console thing over Wi-Fi instead of going through a router, which adds more latency, obviously. So I think that would be like the one benefit that they would push. Is this patent talks about how they're very confident that if they did this, their way of doing wireless directly to this console would be almost as low latency as a wire compared to what we've seen recently. But other than that, I think that's like the biggest benefit, and of course, like probably the software support of the ecosystem. But they're still building everything for Windows as well. I want to keep that for sure.
It would be great, man. It would be great. I hope that our suspicions are correct here, because if this thing lands even anywhere around where Steam Deck is priced at, they could sell a lot of these, and it could be a pretty big deal for kind of reviving PCVR to have an alternative for console VR that actually runs PC games. It could be good to get developers kind of back into the mode of making games for that ecosystem. So many questions remain here with this thing. I assume that we're going to find out very, very soon. I'm hoping that they do what they did a couple years ago and just step on MetaConnect here in a couple of weeks and drop the bomb. But only time will tell, huh?
It does feel like they're in crunch mode. Like this month, I think there's like, I think someone did a count in my Discord. There was 49 updates to the internal version of Steam VR, which is more than like the first 6 months of this year. So like they're like in like doing this crunch mode and stuff. But yeah, I really I hope I do hope, because I am actually getting tired of doing this. Just despite what people think, I am tired of being a copium dealer for this, and I want to just see what happens at this point, for sure.
This time next year, your channel is just going to be solely focused on VR chat.
I mean, hopefully not. But no, there's still a lot of stuff I would love to explore, because I've kind of always been wanting to do a lot of the Linux VR content, because there's a lot of weird stuff that happens there already, and I think if there was a big boom, not even gigantic boom, but somewhat of a boom to the software stack from the open source community to what happens with this device, like there was for the Steam Deck, it would be very interesting to keep an eye on that from a channel perspective. Yeah.
Man, exciting times, man. Exciting times. It feels like we're at the precipice. Well, it's felt like we're kind of at the precipice of the next gen for probably a year and a half now. But now we're starting to see it all come together with Valve, with Meta, with Google and Nintendo, and I mean, LG. Everyone seems to be kind of getting into the fray now, and it seems like 2024, 2025 is going to be like a revolutionary year for the perpetually dead VR ecosystem. So super excited about this. Ruuts, are you excited for the PC console?
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting for sure. I'm more excited for the headset if it exists. And
right.
I want to, it'll be DisplayPort, right, Brad? I'm assuming if it was, like if you connect, they would be able to connect directly, or no? Or do you think it would be only wireless?
We don't have too much information on that, but I will say, like, the patent that's on my wall, which is the most recent hardware patent, they definitely have wire loops like all over the thing, despite the fact that that thing is clearly wireless focused. So they'll do something, I'd imagine, because I was told this before by a developer. Valve still heavily cares about the PC VR enthusiast community, so we'll see how that goes for that. But I think it would be shocking if they didn't have some sort of wired capability.
I just want a headset that can connect. Like we've had wired link connect issues this last week, AirLink issues, and I never had display. I mean, when I had a DisplayPort headset, like it always connected. There was other issues, but it always connected. And I'd like to have a version of that. And if for some reason we did get a headset dropped west, and I had to choose between this and the Quest 3 first, I would get this one first, and then get the Quest 3 down the road, because I've already got the Quest Pro, and I feel like I just want. I didn't get. I'm like GT. I didn't get into the Index run. You didn't either. We watched Alex get it. We watched MainFan get it. We watched a lot of people get it. We didn't get it, so I want to get in on this one if it exists. So.
Yeah, I'm just so afraid that this thing's going to come out, and this box is going to be, fairly priced, $600, $700. But the headset that comes with it's going to be like $1,000, $1,200. So you're going to need close to $2,000 to get the bundle. And I'm assuming that my PC is going to be strong enough that I'm not going to need this box thing. But even at that, I can't see them. If this headset turns out to be what we think it's going to be, I have a very hard time believing that they're going to sell it for even $1,000. That seems like too good of a deal. Like, it's probably going to cost more. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I'm afraid how much this thing's going to cost, Brad.
I mean, it feels like the entire VR industry is deciding that they could push prices up for the experience. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, before I cut you loose, any updated impressions of your retail unit of your big screen beyond? I know you were really high on your prototype.
Yeah, it's as far as I know, it's mostly the same. I guess the one comment, where is it? It's somewhere around here on the floor. It's got the final top strap, so I don't have to use those DIY straps from Michaels anymore. It's awesome. It's good. That's great.
Well, yours looks so much cooler though, Brad.
Mine is cooler, and I was actually showing it around, so it's in my backpack. But yeah, no, it's I don't know what to say. Like, I actually real quick, they did ask if I was gonna do a final review of this production model, but I told them, like, I kind of feel like my last video on Beyond was pretty much covered everything. There's not too much difference. So yeah, still the thing I use every day right now.
You can do a 2-minute video and just say it's still good.
Yeah, it's the same.
Still works. Yep.
It's still your daily driver, right?
Yeah, it still is my daily driver, and I've been very happy that they finally started shipping because I don't know how often you guys do hardware reviews on your channels, but like it's always kind of scary to do hardware reviews because you kind of like if you really like something, you kind of put your branding on it sort of way, right? And you're always terrified when it actually releases that people are not gonna feel the same way. So I've been kind of like watching first deliveries and their reactions. So far, people are liking it, so I'm sighing a breath of relief because of that.
Yeah, we don't do a ton of hardware review. We always kind of do content on the headsets that we buy, but we've never really bought into anything that's super expensive. Like neither one of us had a Valve Index. We reviewed Quest headsets. We review the Rift headsets. We review PlayStation VR. I'm actually trying to get a Pimax Crystal, so I may be reviewing that sometime soon, hopefully. But we'll see. The more time goes on, the less excited I get about that. But no, it's funny with Big Screen Man because you wonder where that thing's going to be in 6 months because there's this whole kind of ecosystem of hardware and peripherals that's kind of in between last gen and next gen. And if next gen shows up quickly enough, things like Big Screen Beyond, things like the Nofio wireless adapter, all of this stuff that's really novel in last gen, criteria is all going to be pretty much outdated overnight, and all market demand's just going to fall off a cliff. So it's funny, while the enthusiasts like us are sitting here hoping that we get this thing tomorrow, I got to imagine the people at Big Screen are hoping just the opposite, right?
Yeah, I remember. I don't actually give that story away, but yeah, I agree, 100%.
Right. All right, man. Well, thank you for taking a minute to get me up to speed here on this thing. It is what I thought it was. Or you said what I thought you would say, and that's very exciting. I think, even as someone who's more enthusiastic about VR software, stuff like this gets me excited for the future because it bodes well for the high end of software development to grow. Basically, the more high end platforms that we have, the more likely that baseline moves more in our direction. You know, when the Rift platform died, a lot died with it, right? You know, it's sad to say, but kind of the golden age for high end VR was kind of like 2018, 2019. And you know, while the Quest and standalone VR has kind of been a necessary evil for the industry as a whole, it's really had kind of a detrimental effect on the quality of games. So anytime that that we're talking about PCVR making a resurgence, that's nothing but good, even if it is a console that's responsible for the resurgence.
Well, sorry, before you go, Chris Richardson wants to know how it's going. Showing off I guess it's a big screen, because it's specifically made for your eyes, your face. I thought that was kind of interesting question.
Oh yeah, it definitely, yeah, like I have a very average, or I should be very careful what I say here, but like I have a 65 IPD, which is like a very high average IPD at least. So most people I run into, they can at least try it on, and even though the facial cushion doesn't really contour to their face at all, they can still get an idea of like, they can get an idea of it, right? And they can be like, oh, if I had my own facial cushion, this would be even better. But and that's also what's good about my strap, is my strap doesn't need, as long as you're my IPD, you don't need the facial cushion. You can just take it off and then have it hover in front of your face. So it's not, it's not the best demo device, but it still gets enough people like kind of interested in it when they put it on and kind of get an idea for it anyway. One thing I wanted to say before I go as well, because you were kind of talking about this different wave of devices and stuff. One thing I think that's very interesting is if Valve, if we're correct about all this, and Valve is doing this like split architecture console thing with a VR headset that has an XR2 type chip, but it's purely focused on the PC VR stuff. It's like every company's kind of doing something very different right now. The main players, like we have PlayStation, who has a console, but they're like focused on the wired stuff. Then we have Apple, who decided, hey, let's have 2 chips in the headset. Everything on the headset, high-end chips, crazy stuff in the headset. And we have Meta that has like the one, of course, XR2 chip, and they're like, let's do everything on that. And then we have Valve that's doing something more similar, obviously, to the like what the PSVR 2 is, except they're like, hey, let's build this standalone device, but like Airlink focus, basically. Right. So it is really interesting to see how every major company right now is really doing something pretty different of how they're approaching VR, and it's gonna be exciting to see all these differences and how they pay off and how they don't. But yeah,
it's interesting because the differences between the platforms is turning out to be very significant. Especially with Quest 3, you know, kind of getting away from the whole eye tracking, face tracking side of it. So, like, literally, they're focused on mixed reality and social experiences. They're promising a renewed interest in games, which I do expect will be the case for a little while. But, you know, of course, they're going to try to move away from it as soon as possible. You have Sony that's, you know, focused on basically gaming exclusively and you know, closer to the high end than the low end with regard to the quality, and keeping everything tethered up, although that could change, you know, with a mid-cycle refresh or some sort of device. But you're right, yeah, the VR industry is kind of segmenting now, and everyone's kind of working on something different. So it'll be interesting to see which one takes off, or if they all take off, and everyone, you know, if the market grows enough, everyone kind of is able to stay in their own lane for a couple of years. And it's definitely a different dynamic than we had even 2 or 3 years ago. You're right. Very, Absolutely. Very interesting. Exciting times.
It's beautiful.
Anyway, thanks, Brad, for joining us. It's always fun. It feels like it's been forever since I've talked to you, so it's been fun having you on here. And I don't know, maybe we'll see you tomorrow. I don't know, but at any rate,
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I will be on tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, cool, awesome.
Cool.
Well, my friend, I will see you then. Again, thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Of course. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a good night. Bye.
See you later.
Bye. Always fun having Brad on, Ruuts. It's always so informative, and I really was out of the loop on this thing. I know there's been a lot of headlines going around the last couple of weeks with all the stuff that Brad's been talking about, but I really haven't been able to keep up with it. So always great to have Brad on and kind of get the latest word on what to be excited about. It seems like it's about to happen, doesn't it, Ruuts? It just feels like it's all about to take place.
I feel like we've done this before. Like we've seen it. We've seen this exact fucking move. Valve's not any different, and it's like I would agree. I feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air, Wes.
Yeah, I got to put my stuff up for sale quick before it's all worthless.
Yeah, well, this is the thing is like a lot of people, like I was talking to Dee about her Quest 2, and she's like, I can't sell it. It's my first headset. And I get it. Like but I don't. As I get older, it's a tool, man. If I can get some money to put it towards something else, then that makes it that much more likely for me to get it. And it kind of puts me, like if I'm on a scale, I'm starting to lean into the getting it category a lot easier if I can justify it, right? So like I was even telling her if I could get my video card fan looked at. I was like, well, maybe I buy a 4080 and sell you my 3080 Ti for $600, and then we both get a new video card for $600, right? There's ways to do it. So
yeah, I'd like to be able to keep all my old stuff too, but if it comes down to keeping my old stuff and not being able to get the new one, or getting rid of the old stuff and being able to get something I otherwise wouldn't be able to have. See you later, old stuff. We can always come back and buy this stuff again later if we want to walk down memory lane,
And there's the case of like that it's a Meta headset. I'm looking at my old stuff, my Rift S. My Rift S piece of shit that doesn't want to work most of the time.
Dude,
and I'm thinking,
that thing is so weird. My son uses that Rift S on the daily in there on his older computer, and it works just fine. He never has any trouble with it.
Really? I wonder if it's like an issue with, I don't know, man.
These new drivers, he's running a 1080 in there. He's running like an old GTX graphics card. Maybe the most recent Rift Store software just doesn't jive well with the RTX card
by default or on purpose. Maybe it just doesn't work. Oh, I guess you're gonna have to upgrade, bro. You might as well check out this new Quest 3. It's fucking amazing. Pancake lenses. You don't need that old Rift S, man. It's like outdated anyway. Yeah, I see it. I can see it. So
I need something though, man. I need something that's reliable, something that works, something I can run mods on without catching my computer on fire.
Right.
So hopefully Quest 3 will be that device, but time will tell.
Well, you need something that to help you get better Gazzler scores is what I heard, because like you need a little bit more of an advantage than you already have apparently.
If you would have asked me during the episode on Friday, what I was about to go do, I would have said I'm about to go into the Light Brigade and do some more runs because I want to see this new content. But then I got thinking about what you said, Ruuts, and about how much fun it was just to kind of look at the leaderboards and kind of get into that whole end of the aspect on Gazzlers. And I said, you know what? I played offline the whole time that I played it. Let's plug in and see what we can do with these leaderboards. And as you can see on the screen there, a few hours later, your boy Weasel's nearing the top. Number 3 in the world, Ruuts. The world.
That's crazy, dude. And that's the high score, man. Like, you know what I mean? That's damn high score.
Yeah. That's a lot of scrap, bro. I'm pulling I'm pulling 25 and 30K on every run now in scrap.
Did you max out your? Because that's the thing. Because it's all about what you max. That's why I love games like this. Is like everybody's going to take a different approach, and you can look at things. So my first thing I did was damage right off the bat, damage, and then I did health, and then I did scrap 10% because that was about the point. I saw PD on there, and I was like, I can't let Paradise Decay be above me, although he's usually above me on most games. And then of course, obviously now Wes just put it so far out outside the range. I don't know if I could get caught up to third in the world, Wes Dillon. So
I'm getting used to it now, man. Like the aiming and the firing and stuff. I'm shooting from the hip accurately now, and it's just fun, man. It's fun. And to answer your question, I'm almost halfway through the progression. So I've got so each category on your progression board has 4 different levels that you can level things up to. I've got to level 2 on almost all of them. So there's still more progression left than that I haven't got versus what I've gotten, but I'm getting far enough along that those early levels are kind of easy now. Like I've made it to the second biome. Overall, I would say that I'm probably 35 or 40% through what the game has after about 3 or 4 hours of playing. So there's pretty good lot of content here for a $15 game.
This man legitimately thinks that he is better than us.
Yeah, Wes thinks he's better than us. I could be that far in the content. This is a game I predict I will be. I actually enjoyed it that much. I was thinking about it, because like we shit all over games all the time, or I don't rave about a lot of games, but the gameplay loop on this is just so good that it's like addictive and
it's fun, right?
Yeah, and it's fun, and that's all that matters. I just want fun in VR. It doesn't have to be the deepest game in the world. Just make it fun. I was also thinking about Crashland. I was thinking I need to get back into that game because I never finished it. That's one of the hardest games I've played, and it's one of the best games I've played in VR. So
Agreed wholeheartedly. Man, wouldn't it be great if they updated that thing for Quest 3, huh?
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. I wouldn't doubt it though. I mean, that developers brought that game all the way from what Game VR or not? What's the Gear VR? It was originally on the Gear VR, I believe, or maybe it was DK1.
It was on DK1, DK2. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's brought it all the way along on every single thing. So I wouldldn't doubt it, and it would be amazing to see an even better version. Although that game still looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks good. Even on Quest 1, it looks like one of the better Quest 2 games, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an impressive looking and playing game, and definitely a hidden gem.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, we have got a ton of show to get to, so why don't we say hello to our friends in chat? They've been sitting nicely while we play with Brad, and I love them for it. I appreciate it. Baron is here. Travelman3775. Gamertag VR staying up late with us. What's up, GT? Ryan Brandon's here. Chinatown D is here. Hussein X. ET2K9.now is here. Virtual Steve is here. He says, what kind of game is this? A wave shooter? It's a rail shooter. You're exactly right. It's a rail shooter, but it's a fun rail shooter. I know that's a bad word for a lot of people, but if a wave shooter / rail shooter is polished and has a unique hook to it, there's still some of the most fun games that you can play, especially a game like this, Ruuts, where you can just pick it up, do a run, spend 30 minutes in it, and put it down.
Yeah.
Which is literally how I've been playing it.
And it's $15, very reasonably priced. So
right. TPZ is up here, says great show as always. I sadly have to take off. Well, thank you for dropping by and saying hello. You can always catch the replay, bro. So
SpryGuy says 1 hour in and we're finally getting acknowledged. Hey, we had Brad
That's
here.
How it goes.
Dude. When Brad's here, we don't pay attention to anything. We're just paying attention to Brad.
Yeah. Well, this is how it always turns out when Brad's on, because I personally think it would be rude to make Brad wait through an hour of our introduction before he gets to talk about this stuff. He loves talking about it. That's why he comes on here. It's not because he likes us, Ruuts. He just loves talking about this stuff.
Yeah, well, we love Brad regardless of, even if he hates us. We love you, Brad.
Scott, the PSVR game cat for life says, but I'm number one, Wes. Are you serious? Is that you on there?
Ben Bardo. Is that Ben or Ben Bart 30? Is that's Scott?
Are you Ben Bart 30, Scott?
Prove it.
I'm
Log out and log back in.
Coming for you, bro. I'm coming up. I'm coming up the ranks. I'm adding 5K on every time I play now. So coming in hot. Travel Man 3775. Techno Glitch is here. Tom Flesh Eater Gaming is here. Dead Ringer the Game Cat. What's up? Hussein X. Hello. Who else is here?
Your mom. Or not your mom, but
my mom.
Nah, I was just reading what Ruthless Metal said, and your mom is here. She is.
Thank you. She's
She never
Can't
gets
see her,
acknowledged.
Yeah, right. Mickey Barrios is here. What's up, Mickey? Je ne sais quoi is here. Hello, Jenna. Good to see you.
Mickey dropped the key a little bit ago.
That's what he does, bro.
Yeah.
Of course he did. It was totally baseball.
Yes.
Thank you, Mickey. Awesome as always. D1360 VR. Mark Smith is here. Mr. Lord Beavis is here as well.
Brandon
Chris
VR.
Richardson.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, Chris Richardson's here, Ruuts.
I was going to say Brandon VR brought up something I was going to mention because you were talking about it recently to me. And he said he just bought Galaxy carts for 40% off. And you were saying there's a big update coming, or is it already here? That it's going to be, it may be a game you want to pick up before it's not on sale, right? Because it's supposed to be getting a lot better.
Yeah, there's a lot of updates coming to Galaxy Kart, and it's a game that I'm excited to try out, actually, because, not the best launch, but apparently it's already a lot better, and it's about to get even better still. So
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's a solid pickup if you can catch Galaxy Karts on sale right now. It's a good move. Daniel Kaz, what's up? Just Living 00. Hello. Scrolling. Still scrolling. This is the downside of doing an hour before we say hello to the chat. Old Darth is here. Or was here. Maybe he's not. So I'm scrolling way up here. Lesser Logic is here. Space Dennison as well. VR SpryGuy, happy birthday. Samson 143 VR is here as well. Our friend Alex is here. Hello, Alex. Good to see you, brother. What a great episode, by the way. If you're still here, Alex, Between Realities on Friday was fucking epic. Ruuts, they had the writer of The Lawnmower Man on Between Realities this past week, and this is a guy that is intimately involved with the VR software industry now. He's actually working on VR stuff.
Wow.
These days. He's not just a writer anymore, and it was a very interesting episode. And if you all haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend that you go check out the most recent episode of Between Realities.
I question your soul if you're not at least not subbed to him yet. I can understand if you haven't seen that particular episode yet, but like, come on, man. What's wrong with you?
Real. Chrome Colossus is here. What's up? Hooked Worm, the Hoosier Game Cat, is here as well. Tiffany's here. Hello, Tiffany. Thank you for stopping by. Anyone else? Hussein X. Did we say hi to Hussein X? Hello, Hussein X. And that is as far as I can scroll upward. Looks like we had a tip. Did we read the tip? Oh, $5 from Traveling Man 3775 says, happy 199, guys. Been a banger so far. Thank you. Thank you. And I guess it'll be a good time to kind of inform and remind people that we're likely not going to be on next Sunday. So it will likely be 2 weeks from tonight that we do episode 200. And it's not going to be a big banger blowout like the 2023 show is going to be. But it is going to be a different episode. We are going to do a couple little special things. We'll probably give away a few games. We might have a special guest or two and maybe another surprise or two. It's not going to be a big banger blowout episode, but it is going to be a celebration, and it will be a different special episode. So you might want to tune in for that. If you haven't already, make sure that you are subscribed.
Free beers on Virtual Strangers 200. Ruthless Metal says probably not that, but it's not going to be a 17-hour marathon. It's only going to be 10. No, just kidding. I'm sure it'll still be. It probably will be. I would guess maybe 3 hours would be my guess, just if we have extra people on there. But who knows? That's the beauty. And yeah, it's a celebration in general. Because I was thinking about this. We're now over 5 years. That's crazy, dude. For something that I just got randomly approached, and it's like, yeah, it sounds good. I'll do that. And didn't feel like I had any knack for it, and just watching us grow as we over the time is awesome. So
I feel like we're just now getting started, man. Honestly, I feel like everything before this year was just kind of us cutting our teeth and learning how to do this. I feel only now that we're just kind of coming into our own. And we're really just now starting to get started. So,
yeah,
I want to thank everyone for supporting us along the way and getting us to this point. The future is very bright and very exciting, thanks to all of you. So, thank you.
Absolutely. Mickey Bear dropping a key to Creed, Rise to Glory
Boom.
in Steam. Pick it up quick.
Get that shit. Shout out to the Slippies out there. Prophecy 777 slipping in at the end. Drippy, the Wandering Game Cat. Sliding in here at the end as well. Rex BKO9, and you already mentioned Ruthless Metal sliding in here, and then Mr. Lord Beavis coming back with the 199 tip. Thank you, Mr. Lord Beavis. You're awesome. LeVR says Anthony on episode 200. I'm not going to confirm nor deny that. Honestly, I don't know. It's possible. That is possible. I will say that.
I will say that Anthony is one of my favorite people in VR, and actually one of the I don't know. I just go between what was it, the show me and Skiva and him did, 5 or 6 episodes, was so cool,
right.
And he's just such a genuinely good guy, and I hope he's on here. That'd be awesome.
Maybe we could have Anthony on to talk about the recent UFO revelations, huh?
Oh my God. Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what, if he comes on, we'll make sure I'll talk about it, and we'll bring it up. We'll talk about it. Because that's what we do. It's not all, we can't just talk all VR all the time. We got to slip in some interesting topics from time to time.
Yeah. We can talk about whistleblowers,
outside.
Bro. There's been a few.
Yeah, there has.
Did you see the Mexican aliens?
I did not. I haven't seen any specifics on the aliens recently. I just know that the unveiling is slowly happening. So at some point, it's just going to be, we'll probably see it in the sky and be like, oh yeah, there it is. So
these life forms that they have captured or found mummified remains of in South America, Ruuts, they're so different from us. This is how different they are. They have femur bones in their arms and have arm bones in their legs. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
It's crazy how evolution works like that they're so completely different than us.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. Paper mache
anyway.
aliens. Yes.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. I actually saw a good replica, like a convincing replica of that alien on Twitter this past week, and turns out it was cake.
What was it that somebody said that there was something was, I can't remember what it was. It's this, and it was something that was completely different. It was that's a picture of, I can't remember what it was. It was so ridiculous. It just sometimes people just run with everything that they see. It's crazy.
People want to believe so hard, Ruuts. People want to believe so hard that they'll believe anything.
That's
honestly.
true. Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting situation, the psyche of modern people, because we have this thing where everyone wants to believe, right? That not just aliens, but conspiracies in general. People want to believe in this stuff, And at the same time, people are kind of coming to the realization that, the media lies to them, the government lies to them, everything that they've ever been taught is a lie. So we have this situation where people are just willing to believe anything because there's not really anything that they can believe in. It's a weird dynamic.
My biggest thing is why go from like not only 0, but like -50 to like coming out and just everything's, we're destroy your career for decades, like destroy you personally if you even say anything. But now like there's whistleblowers left and right, and they're just coming out of the woodwork. It's like, okay, now's the time. I'm always about timing, and I look at things and I'm like, okay, why now? But I think it's very interesting.
People will believe anything, Ruuts. For example, Awesome Tatum believes that he's going to beat my score.
Yeah, well, there you go. Awesome Tatum. I don't think you're underestimating the fact that what Wes just said, he's just warming up. He's just getting the hang of it, and he's already third. He's going to be number 1. Ben Bart 30, if that is you, Scott, you better be looking over your shoulder. Wes is coming for you. Yeah, I can see him.
I honestly, as early on as I am in the game, I wonder if that number 1 has even beat the game yet. Like, I wonder. Because, again, I haven't made it halfway through yet, and I'm at number 3.
That makes a big difference, how far you get, because that's how much scrap you get through the entire run. So I would imagine either Ben Bart's like the best person in the world ever, or they probably came close to getting through the game, and they're probably
it's much
really
more
good.
difficult too. You think that first biome is difficult? It gets much harder in the second one. The enemies are very similar. There are some new enemies, but most of them are similar. But instead of firing like 2 or 3 slow fireballs at you, they fire these like purple fireballs at you, and they're way faster. And instead of coming in a straight line, they come in like this corkscrew pattern. So to block them, you have to like literally wax on, wax off. It's a lot more difficult to collect scrap balloons in the second biome. Like the first one, you can just sit and play defense and pick off balloons all day long. But once you get out of the first biome, you really, or at least at this point in the game, I can't like even think about balloons. It's all about staying alive.
That's cool, because this is what, 4 biomes, I think, and so like if you're only in the second one and it's getting this much more difficult, you're just gonna have to really keep playing through and building yourself up to get through more of the game, and that's the way the game play loop. It's actually really good. It's designed very well, and I wish more developers would take a hint from it. Just don't get me in the game and think that's enough. Climbing the ladder and just all the shit. I want really good gameplay, and even if it's a simple idea, it can still be really fun and really good.
Agreed. So shout out to the Gazzlers devs again for putting forth an excellent game and taking enough time to polish it up. I'm confident that this PSVR 2 version is going to be just as good, if not better, because they delayed it, and they're making sure it's right, just like they did for the Steam version. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, Ruuts, we have other games to talk about other than Gazzlers, so why don't we get into some headlines? Breaking the mold. Fast Travel Games Mannequin seeks to redefine VR multiplayer. This by yours truly, xrupdate.com.
Oh, there you are.
In a VR, yeah, there I am.
Yeah, I was like, where'd you go?
Oh crap! Where did you go?
I hid myself.
I'm where you're
there.
supposed to be.
There we go.
Let's see.
And I was like, you're gone. Anyway, go ahead.
Time stops, but the game is on. In a VR gaming landscape that at times can seem very derivative, Fast Travel Games has revealed a title that promises to upend the status quo. Mannequin, announced this past Wednesday, is an asymmetric multiplayer VR game set to launch in 2024. Tailor-made for the new generation of VR headsets like MetaQuest 3, PSVR 2, and Steam VR, Mannequin will test your nerve, your reflexes, and your ability to deceive. The narrative of Mannequin unravels in a world frozen in time due to the appearance of extraterrestrial beings, aptly called mannequins by humans. As a player, you can join the ranks of these alien mannequins or become a special agent deployed to neutralize them. The backdrop is eerie and dark, populated by first responders turned into lifeless statues. In matches involving up to 5 players, the game pits 3 mannequins against 2 agents in a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek. Mannequins possess the unique ability to freeze themselves and blend in with the statues of frozen first responders. Agents, on the other hand, are equipped with state-of-the-art EMP guns and EMF readers, offering them a technological edge in their quest to neutralize the aliens. Both sides have objectives revolving around power stations that are scattered across levels. Mannequins can drain these stations to enhance their abilities, while agents must prevent this from happening. Failing to control these stations within a set time gives the opposite side an advantage, adding an extra layer of strategy to the gameplay. For an added layer of immersion, Mannequin supports in-game voice chat. Teams can communicate without worrying about the other side eavesdropping, allowing for detailed strategic planning. The lobby also serves as a social space where players can experiment with posing and interact with one another before and after matches. Notably, this is Fast Travel Games' first venture in the multiplayer realm and their first original IP since The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets in 2019. Considering the studio's history of engaging single-player VR titles, Mannequin signifies a bold new direction. Mannequin isn't just another game. It's a testament to the untapped potential of VR to offer truly groundbreaking gameplay concepts and experiences. While the game is set to launch in 2024, the anticipation is already starting to build. Be sure to follow Mannequin on Facebook, X, that's Twitter, everyone, and Instagram to stay up to date with all the latest news on the game, and join the Mannequin Discord to share your excitement with the community, as well as sign up for playtesting. They're looking for playtesters, Ruuts, actively. So if that's something anyone's interested in doing, then you should join the Mannequin Discord ASAP. Ruuts, this is a game unlike anything that I've seen, flat or VR. This is a very different game, a very unique concept, and kind of the evolution of the social deduction genre in VR.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a 3 versus 2, right? You got 2 people trying to deduce, I guess.
Yeah, so 3 people are the alien creatures. The alien creatures can shapeshift and pose as these frozen first responders. So basically, there was an alien event in the city. A certain part of the city, everyone that was in it got frozen in place. There are aliens there that can shapeshift and pretend that they're also frozen humans. So the first responders or the special agents are coming in. They have EMF readers and EMP devices that can tell the special agents the general area where the aliens are hiding, but they can't see exactly where they're at. Now that changes if you can keep the aliens from getting to those power stations in a certain amount of time. After a certain amount of time, you get to reap the benefits from those power stations, and it'll show you exactly or a lot closer where the aliens are at. You have limited ammo, so you can't just come in there and start blasting away all the statues, because you'll basically kill 2 or 3 innocent people and then be out of ammo, and the alien can just walk up and get you at that point. So it's all about strategy, Ruuts. It's about planning out. If you're an agent, planning on planning out the way that you're going to get in and secure those power stations. If you're a mannequin, it's all about, I mean, there's different ways you can go about it. You can try to make your way to the power station so that you can get enhanced abilities to fight the special agents, or you can find a strategic point to kind of hide and pretend to be frozen and hope that someone walks by you, and then all you got to do is touch them, Ruuts, and they're frozen and they're dead. And these aliens have like a special dash ability, so if you get close to them, they're going to strike like a snake. Again, a very different sort of game here, which is pretty impressive coming from a place like Fast Travel, which is, historically done some very conventional games, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like I should be grabbing the people at the beginning, spinning them around, letting them go, and then saying freeze. It sounds like it sounds like freeze tag. You know what I mean?
Freeze tag, yep.
On a completely different level, but it's like I almost imagine that when they were thinking of the game, that was like the beginning of the conversation somehow. But that's it. I think it's very interesting, and I'm kind of curious to see how it's all going to flesh out. And you were like popping all over the wet place, Wes. You are not literally, but you're. I'm fixing you on all the scenes retroactively here, or actually, I guess.
Did Brad break our system?
No, I just think I forgot to. There we go. I think I just forgot to move, because I did a completely new setup for it, and so I just forgot to move your windows over. But now it's all good. So
it's all good.
All good and fixed.
Anyway, 2024 on this one. Fast Travel, man, they're all over the place between the stuff that they're publishing, the stuff that they're developing. They've got the Vampire the Masquerade coming out later this year from Fast Travel Games, and then next year they've got this Mannequin game. They're on fire, bro. Fast Travel's on fire right now.
Yeah, you showed me one other company. Well, there's actually a couple, but that are doing so much for VR, right? Fast Travel.
There's only a handful.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of these, like In Dreams, for one, Skydance, Vertigo. There's a literal who's who now of VR studios, and Fast Travel is definitely in that group.
Absolutely. And Michelle B agrees. She says she likes her beer cold and her men hot. Oh yeah, I totally skipped over the entire conversation that the chat's having, but I thought that was interesting enough. But yeah, that's pretty much.
I like cold beer.
Yeah,
cold beer is good.
Absolutely.
Anyway, very much looking forward to Mannequin. Again, if you want to stay up to date on this game, you can follow them on the socials. You can also subscribe to Virtual Strangers and keep an eye out on xrupdate.com, which is where this wonderful, excellently written article can be found.
I was looking at the author. The picture he looks familiar in that it looks very actually cleaned up pretty good there.
Yeah, it's black and white for a reason, bro. I'm trying to hide some stuff.
It's a good pick. There's a link to this actual specific article, but the website as well.
Yeah, and we will return to XR update before the end of this episode. Don't you worry about that. But first, we got some exciting news from the PlayStation blog.
Welcome to the Ghostbusters. You might be new here, but we have a job to get done. This city isn't going to save itself. So get geared up and join the team, because working together
Go! Don't pay the part.
will give you the best chance.
We got this.
What Hopefully, you'll have access to the latest ghost-busting gadgets, if you can earn them. We're talking turrets, shields, decoys, and so much more.
Throw your trap. Wow. Light him up.
I'm picking up something.
Whoa, watch out.
You'll need to be ready for anything
Here he comes.
before you'll be ready to take on the Ghost Lord.
Ghostbusters, Rise of the Ghost Lord.
Oh yeah, and these guys, mini puffs, they can be a real pain in the...
How Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord captures the best of PSVR 2. This again from the PlayStation blog. We're excited to debut our first trailer for Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord featuring PlayStation VR 2 gameplay. The game launches October 26 and is available for pre-order now. Check out the new gameplay, which we just did, and then read on for some highlights about how we're utilizing PSVR 2's unique capabilities to truly immerse players in the Ghostbusters universe. Then, for an extra treat, you can watch a roundtable interview with me and some of my team from In Dreams that goes into greater detail about the game. So, again, this is something you can find on the PlayStation blog. If at a later time you'd like to go on and check out this dev interview, you should do so. If you'll excuse the pun, Ghostbusters is a super natural fit for cooperative multiplayer VR. Ghostbusting is all about teamwork. There's no Ghostbusters movie about one person taking on the paranormal by themselves. And there's nothing like wielding the iconic equipment together as you get up close and personal with angry ghosts. Add into the mix a new story, new location, new equipment, and new cast, and we have the recipe for the ultimate Ghostbusters experience in VR. Eye tracking on PSVR 2 is a game changer when it comes to accuracy and ease of use. We had first-hand experience with the power of eye tracking in our game Synapse, which released earlier this year. As you'd expect, we've implemented it here too as an option for menu navigation, as well as making it intuitive to grab objects from a distance. However, it's been most transformative in our cooperative game when it comes to communication, like seeing where your teammates are looking, as well as sharing a wink or two. It's uncanny how easy it is to recognize a friend from the real world by their avatar's mannerisms. The PSVR 2's graphical capabilities help us deliver an emotional tone, such as feeling a sense of dread and unease going into a dimly lit, dark basement that might be hiding all manner of nasties. That is, until you unleash your particle thrower and it suddenly fills the room with light. The PlayStation 5's power also enabled a number of ethereal ghost effects that evoke the movies. It makes it especially rewarding when they are flying right at and through you. Speaking of ghosts flying through you, as they're known to do, you'll feel it viscerally thanks to the PSVR 2's headset haptics. The degrees of haptics we can tap into allows us to use it in several ways, from subtly cueing players when there's something afoot to more shocking effects from our scariest ghosts. The PSVR 2's Sense Controller's adaptive triggers enhance the sense of presence and were particularly effective in bringing the authentic ghost-busting gear to life, from the PKE meter and the Proton Wand to the brand new Muon Trap thrower. I particularly love priming the Proton Wand with a partial press before the satisfying click to unleash a blast of positively charged subatomic particles. The adaptive triggers come to life when it comes to squishing mini puffs. These little critters like to wreak havoc on you and your gear during the most inopportune times. Luckily, you can help your buddies out by picking them off of them and giving them a satisfying squish in VR. I believe we're the first VR game where you can squeeze a marshmallow. One of the cool things about working on this game is collaborating with the Ghost Corps itself, who are charged with stewarding the entire Ghostbusters universe. We had the honor of visiting the set for the upcoming Ghostbusters film to host a roundtable conversation about the game. You can watch it below. We cover a lot of topics, from equipment upgrades and the type of missions you'll encounter, to maybe even dropping a few hints about upcoming DLC after the game launches. Enjoy, and I'll see you in the Ghostbusters headquarters. So here we have yet another example, Ruuts, proof positive. This is a multi-platform game. This is coming to Steam VR, it's coming to Quest, coming to PlayStation VR 2. But as has typically been the case thus far, and is going to be the case for the foreseeable future, the PSVR 2 version of this is enhanced with features that you can't find anywhere else.
Right. And that's that's pretty much credit to the developers, right? Because not every developer's doing that. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves with PlayStation VR 2, and not with the system, just with the developers that don't want to use the hardware. Right. It's there. Make the game amazing, right? So,
yeah, and it makes so much sense too for this type of game when you think about the type of things that you're doing in this game, whether it be firing those giant particle beams from your gun, or like they mentioned, the ghost flying through you. There's so much opportunity here for them to use these features to really immerse people.
Yeah. I just hope it's the gameplay is really fun. That's what some people are debating whether it would be, a fun game or not, and that are good. And that's the biggest thing for me. I mean, there's so many games that are like this that are based on an IP, and they want to create the world so much that they don't focus on the gameplay. And if I go into this thing and it's an experience, it'll be cool, but it won't be what I want. I want a game. This is a thing. It looks like a game. It looks like it's really good. 4-player co-op, and you get to be a Ghostbuster. You're going on a hunt. So yeah, I have high hopes for it, but like I was saying in the chat, until I get in there, I have no idea if I'm going to like it or not, but, it looks cool, sounds cool. So I'm pretty sure it will be.
I think you're going to like this, Ruuts, specifically because this is not only a multiplayer co-op game. This is a game that is going to rely heavily on teamwork and everybody kind of filling out their role. And I know you're specifically fond of these type of scenarios.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not too worried about whether or not it's going to be good or not. It's coming from In Dreams. I'm sure it's going to be solid and fun to play. My only concern with it is how replayable is it going to be after we play through every mission and make it through the story. Is this going to be something that I want to come back to with friends, or is it going to be something that I put down? It's pretty encouraging, though, I got to admit, when they're talking about DLC coming out for it. That's the best way to bring people back, right? Give them new content.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. I always like DLC, especially if it's done well.
Yep. So, we're not going to have to wait very long to find out. I think it said October 26th, which is literally a month away. And this is a big one. This is a big one for VR. A big Sony Pictures IP coming to virtual reality in an enhanced version on PSVR 2. This could be a pretty big deal for VR in general, and I am looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, me too.
Mr. Lord Beavis said they said there will be DLC. Yeah, actually, there's 2 versions up on the store that you can pre-order right now. You can pre-order the base version of the game, which is $35, or you can buy the deluxe version, which is $55. And the deluxe version promises a bunch of cosmetic stuff, in addition to 6 months worth of seasonal DLC, they said.
What do you get for the pre-order? What's the incentive for that, or is there any?
I'm not sure, actually. Let me look.
Because this is not a knock at In Dreams at all. It's not a knock at them. If it's PlayStation VR 2, I'm not pre-ordering shit unless you give me something extra that that makes it worth it. Why? Like, I risk getting stuck with a game that sucks. And again, I don't think it's gonna suck, but games are gonna suck. And I've developed, for me personally, I'm not buying any PlayStation VR 2 games pre-order until Sony starts doing what every other VR company does and give us that 2-hour window. We need to hold Sony's feet to the fire for that, because there's just too much. There's too much weirdness in game releases anymore. And why should they get a pass when every other platform has to do it? So,
Okay, so what you get for your pre-order is 10% off.
okay, yeah. Well, so if it's low, I mean, if you believe the game, which I think this game is, and I don't run with it to the bank with this one on my say, but I think it'll probably be good enough to get the pre-order if the money's the difference. But at least there's a pre-order discount. I still would wait for personally, just because, again, I just want Sony to change their policy and more in line with everybody else. So
I agree with you there. I would. It would. It goes a long way, allowing people to have the ability to refund, even if it was just 1 hour. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. Just give people long enough to get in the game and make sure it's not broken.
Or give it, be very strict. Steam's a little lenient. You get one a month or whatever. I mean, you kind of have to choose. Okay, do I really want to throw this in now for this game? So it's not really easy, because I think people do sometimes abuse it. I don't think Sony would allow it as much, but yeah, I think it'd be good.
Yep, agreed. All right, just a second. I kind of got things out of sorts here while I was looking for that, but we're about to get it lined back out. All right, cool. There we go.
Mr. Lord Beavis says it's Ghostbusters. I'm going to pre-order it, and I don't think anybody should feel bad about that. If you feel like you want to pre-order it, I think you should. But there was a time when I said it's Walking Dead. I'm going to pre-order it. And Onslaught was the biggest garbage dog shit. Different studio, but dog shit. And so, like, I can't say it's a really good IP. I'm going to pre-order for that reason. I'd say if anything, it's in Dreams. That would be a good reason that you could probably trust it. So, but.
Tom Flesh Eater Gaming in the chat says we need a VR mode on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's funny that you mentioned that, because Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord is being developed by In Dreams, which up until recently, our good friend Jimmy Bowers worked at In Dreams, but he just left In Dreams to go work for Sumo Digital, who was working on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So hopefully our friend Jimmy is over there telling them just that, Tom, that they need to bring a VR mode to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Anyways, so that's our obligatory PlayStation blog post. Ruuts, do we have anything from the MetaQuest blog?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the in-between, the realm between the realms. And the only beings that can come here are beings that are above the gods themselves and don't belong to just one individual realm. And you, as a cosmic guardian, find this area to be a secondary hub outside of the Egyptian realm. DM is the dungeon master who is going to guide you through the uncharted rifts.
What do we have here?
The Uncharted Rifts are a roguelite, endless, procedurally generated dungeon mode. So that means that basically each time that you go into the Uncharted Rifts, it's a completely new layout based on your hero and which hero loadout you choose for the rifts. You can carry the hero loadouts from the base game into the Uncharted Rifts, and you can enter the Uncharted Rift at any point throughout the game. The Uncharted Rifts are endlessly procedurally generated. That means that every time you enter into an Uncharted Rift, it has a completely different level layout than the time before it. You'll find agility rooms and trap rooms and combat rooms, and then also treasure rooms too. As you go through the Uncharted Rifts, you'll find a ton of exclusive loot in this mode that you can actually carry back with you in the base game. Say you need an item in order to make an armor piece for a character, you can go into the Uncharted Rift and harvest these resources and send them back using features we call dimensional wells. With the divine trials at the end of each of these rifts, you'll be put into situations where you'll have massive combat fights. You want to make sure that you're gearing up so that by the time you get to that divine trial, you are well prepared for whatever is going to happen when those doors open. As if the divine trials were not enough of a challenge for you, you'll also have these challenges set for you by the Weavers, and those will require you to do different things for a reward. So for example, they'll ask for you to kill a certain amount of a certain type of enemy. They'll ask for you to find a certain amount of treasure chests in a rift. You'll be able to complete these challenges during your run and get some cool perks after you've completed those as well. As you're going through the Uncharted Rifts, the more you play, the more you can unlock Revelations. Revelations are buffs that persist throughout your entire Rift run. You can mix and match up to 3 Revelations as you go into these Rift runs. What they'll basically do is provide buffs like heal an extra amount of health or start with a new skill point. There's a ton of different ways that these buffs can improve your chances of survival and also take all of your skills in combat to their furthest. We really wanted to bring a social element to this game, and so we created an asynchronous social mode in the Uncharted Rifts. So when you're playing the Uncharted Rifts, at the very end of your run, before you restart, you are given the option to select a Divine Soul or a Dread Soul. That'll leave behind this after image of yourself, so you can really feel like your friends are present and with you on your intense dungeon runs. If you choose a Divine Soul, you're basically leaving behind a soul that will help other players, kind of acting like a companion in the way that the followers do in the base game. If you choose a Dread Soul, that after image will enter another player's game and act as like a mini boss for that player. There are so many mysteries and challenges and exclusive loot awaiting you in the Uncharted Rifts. I can't wait for all of our Cosmic Guardian champions to come in and demolish the leaderboards.
Developer Diary. Explore the Uncharted Rifts in Asgard's Wrath 2. This from the MetaQuest blog. Last month, Oculus Studios senior producer Mary Kyle took us behind the scenes of Asgard's Wrath 2, the highly anticipated sequel to Sanzaro Games' epic ARPG adventure game Asgard's Wrath. In that first dev diary, she laid out the backstory of the Cosmic Guardian and the role that God-scale mode plays in MetaQuest 3's flagship epic. Today, she's back for a deep dive on Asgard Wrath's 2 asynchronously social dungeon crawling mode. The Uncharted Rifts are a roguelike, endless, procedurally generated dungeon mode, explains Kyle. Each time that you go into the Uncharted Rifts, it's a completely new layout based on your hero and which hero loadout you chose for the Rifts. The Uncharted Rifts let you test your agility, survive treacherous traps, engage in thrilling combat, and even score some treasure. You'll find a ton of exclusive loot in this mode that you can actually carry back with you into the base game. Say you need an item in order to make an armor piece for a character in the main quest line. You can go into the Uncharted Rift and harvest some of these resources and send them back using features that we call dimensional wells. When you die in the Uncharted Rifts, in general roguelike fashion, you lose all the items that you're holding at the moment. The only way to retain the awesome loot that you find is to send them back in these wells before you die. With the deadly challenges that you'll face in the Rifts, you'll want to use every dimensional well that you can find. Each Rift ends with a divine trial, an epic battle that pushes your combat skills to the breaking point. In order to survive these divine trials, you'll need to use all the potions, relics, and more that you've gathered in the rifts thus far. Whether your divine trial is coming face to face with a massive scorpion known as Deathstalker, or an all-out one versus many combat scenario, these boss levels are sure to present a challenge to even the most seasoned of Wrath 2 players. Additionally, the Weavers of Fate will task you with various challenges that you can complete to earn in-game rewards. They'll ask you to kill a certain amount of a certain type of enemy. They'll ask you for a certain amount of treasure chests in a rift. You'll be able to complete these challenges during your run and get some cool perks after you completed those as well. And the more you play, you'll begin to unlock revelations, buffs that persist throughout your entire rift run. You can mix and match up to 3 revelations at a time. Not only can these revelations increase your odds of survival, they'll also let you take your character's skills to new heights. The perfect combination of revelations could be the difference between topping the leaderboards and dying too soon in your rift runs. Of course, VR, like many things in life, is better with friends, and sometimes foes, and that's where asynchronous multiplayer comes into play. When you're playing the Uncharted Rifts, at the very end of your run before you restart, you're given the option to select a Divine Soul or a Dread Soul. That'll leave behind this after image of yourself, so that you really feel like your friends are present with you on your intense dungeon runs. Divine Souls will help other players in the Uncharted Rifts, much in the same way that followers assist you in the base game. Once you pull a Divine Soul into your game, it will fight alongside you and help you in combat, emulating the playstyle of the player who left it behind by using the same weapons and elements. Dread Souls, on the other hand, are quite the opposite. When you send a Dread Soul into another player's game, it acts as a mini-boss, though it once again mimics your weaponry and playstyle from your own dungeon run. These Dread Souls are stronger and tougher than the other enemies, and if you defeat them, the other players will get a notification that their Dread Soul has been bested in combat. There are so many mysteries and challenges and exclusive loot awaiting you in the Uncharted Rifts. I can't wait for all of our Cosmic Guardian champions to come in and demolish the leaderboards. Tune in next month for a new deep dive where we'll look at Asgard Wrath 2 Collection of Mortal Heroes and Followers, a beloved part of the original game that's getting a serious upgrade for the sequel. Ruuts, the more I hear about this game, the more epic it sounds. This Uncharted Rifts mode that they have going on here that you can literally go to at any point in time during your gameplay. I mean, this sounds more thought out and feature packed than a lot of the VR games on the Quest store.
Yeah, no, this sounds like something you'd see in a flat game. It sounds like an extra mode that's part of the game that you get to go in and you're getting specific items. I think it's super cool. I think it sounds cool on both ends. It sounds cool that you can actually not, because I was thinking, okay, asynchronous social dungeon crawling mode. They're gonna have when you race, you see a ghost image, and they're gonna run along with you, or I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't think this thing was gonna fight with me and capture the gameplay style and their gear. And not only that, but like you can send those into other people's games and attack them and you can gear up and build yourself a specific way and then send them in. I just think it's very deep, very well thought out. Too deep. No, just kidding. Who said never says it's too deep, Wes?
My mom!
And Ruuts. Well, I guess as long as it's still got to be fun. But yeah, no, I really wasn't. The first game was cool. I mean, it was super cool. Very, very well polished. The best graphically game at the time, right? That had ever came out. I'm not a big melee person. So that would be the only thing that I would love in this mode. And this is going to explode some people's heads in this game. I would love like a Ruuts mode where if I hit A, it slices my sword one way. And if I hit B, it slices it a different way. Because I don't want to do this an entire game. I just don't. You know what I mean? But maybe I will when I get in there. I'm going to be like, this thing, it does look really good. So,
well, there's a lot more weapons in here than just the sword. I think there's a bow and arrow and a bunch of other stuff.
I will I'm fucking ditching my sword as soon as I can. I'm bow and arrowing a crossbow or something.
Yeah, there's lots of different stuff, and the melee has been updated and revamped for this game as well, so it's not as tedious as it was in the original. So
yeah, no,
uh,
cool.
But no, this game seems to be an epic AAA game, and it seems like they've been making use of all of these years that they've been silent at Sanzaru Games, and I mean, of all the titles that we've heard of around the Quest 3 launch, this is the one, right? This is the one that I'm actually really excited about, and I don't care. I don't care if the PC guys want to shit on it because it doesn't look like a PC game on Ultra. It looks pretty damn good, and the game in terms of depth of gameplay. I mean, they're saying this is a bigger game than the first one, and the first one was massive. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
That's crazy, and people aren't looking at the complete takeaway. I mean, obviously, this is Sanzaru Games. Meta picked them up and paid them a lot of money to make this game. And do we really think this is the only Quest 3 banger game that they've been working on for their new headset? Like, this is just the first one, and who knows what's out there? I mean, I'm hoping, please, GTA of some sort, San Andreas. Preferably 5 maybe, but I don't know. Just, you know, these games are out there. They're coming, and it's another reason to get excited.
Meta also owns Ready at Dawn, who brought us Lone Echo. They own the studio behind Onward now. They own Twisted Pixel, who brought us Wilson's Heart. They own a pretty good stable of VR studios that are working on something. And hopefully it's all as epic as Asgard's Wrath is appearing to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I forget it, because I meant to say this in the beginning, but you know, Brad, we all got enamored with Brad, and I forgot. But I mentioned this in the Discord. Baldur's Gate 3, I've been able to get into Reshade, and it works great. And it's a game that doesn't have an anti-cheat, and it's built around being able to join, like when you play with multiplayer, whoever's playing the game hosting it, you're joining their connection, right? And so there's just no danger to using it and it looked really good, and so there's no reason not to play one of the best games out there right now that just came out last month, and super cool adventure.
Awesome. So maybe we'll do that sometime here in the near future. Next time we're looking to do a mod, maybe we check out Baldur's Gate 3 and Reshape.
Yeah, because this is the thing, Wes. It's so much like Demio, but on such a more, I mean, they developed it for 10 years, so it's so deep. But if you love Demio, you'll love
10 years, Ruuts. The people don't develop games for 10 years.
No, they don't. Not if you. This is the thing, you know. That's if you want the really, really, really good games, they take, you know, close to 10 years. So
that's I know you think that, but our friend Simplex left a comment on our last video, correcting you, saying that games don't take 8 to 10 years. Roots, they take 4 to 6.
Well, it depends on the game. Okay, so this is Baldur's Gate. Nobody knew it existed for 6 years. Like they were working on it. Then it came out, and for a year they talked about it as they were still working on it. Then at year 7, they released the first act into early access for 3 years, and then after that, they released it into the full release, all 3 acts. Now, this is the thing that people rave about it because it's so deep and everything else, but it's also super polished. That like they took their time with it, and I mean it's Larian Studios, of course, they got the money to do it, but yeah, I mean the average game probably takes 4 to 6 years. But I guess if you want, depends on what you want. You know, do you want filet mignon or do you want the fucking 15-minute steak?
Well, here's the thing. 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. The point remains the same. The point that you were making was that it takes time for these games to make it their way over, and people need to have patience. And so really, whether it's 6 or 8 or 10 doesn't matter. The point is just as relevant, right?
That's true. It's absolutely true.
Let's see. ET2K9.now says Dagnammit Baldur's Gate uses proprietary engine. Yep, that's true. But that doesn't necessarily mean we'll never get a mod for it. I mean, a lot of these games that we're getting mods for, even Far Cry 6,
I was
which,
going to say, Luke Ross.
Yeah. He refined that again, updated it again a couple days ago. So it's getting better and better over time. And by the time we get through Uncharted, I imagine it'll be pretty polished. And I mean, it's already getting pretty good reviews from people.
Absolutely.
So
Well, there you go, Luke. We want Baldur's Gate 3. Like, because if that game comes into, because you can play it with a controller. That's the way I like to play it anyway, or mouse and keyboard if you're old school. But I just, if that was full VR, that game is easily a couple 100-hour game, and that's could be just one playthrough. Depending on what.
No, Ruuts. No, games aren't a couple 100 hours. They're 60 to 80 hours.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. This is a game that I feel like I put in like 20 hours, and I feel like I barely scratched the surface. Amazing.
You know who always scratches the surface, Ruuts?
My mom!
Yes, she does.
It's itchy. She has to.
She has to.
Anyway, we are nearing the end of the headlines portion of today's show, but we do have one more pretty awesome headline to tackle before we get there.
Let's see what the next test is. Oh, advanced aerial faceplates. Well, have fun soaring through the air without a care in the world. I have to go to the wing that was made entirely of glass and pick up 15 acres of broken glass. By myself. Oh, sorry. I'm still cleaning out the test chambers, so sometimes there's still trash in them, standing around, smelling and being useless. Try to avoid the garbage hurtling towards you. You don't have to test with the garbage. It's garbage. Press the button again. Remember before when I was talking about smelly garbage standing around being useless? That was a metaphor. I was actually talking about you. And I'm sorry. You didn't react at the time, so I was worried it sailed right over your head, which would have made this apology seem insane. That's why I had to call you garbage a second time just now.
Portal 2 is now fully playable in 6DOV VR with motion controls. This from Elliot Tate, XRUpdate.com. Portal 2, Valve's critically acclaimed puzzle platformer, has long been celebrated for its innovative gameplay, compelling narrative, dark humor, and is widely regarded as one of the best co-op experiences of all time. Now, thanks to the incredible efforts of talented modder Gistics, the game is now playable in 6DoF VR with motion controls. Gistix has literally created a portal into this beloved world, letting players fully and physically step into Aperture Labs for the first time. Experiencing the iconic world of Portal is nothing short of transformative. The sterile, enigmatic chambers of Aperture Science come to life around you in a way that flat screen could never capture. With the portal gun in your actual hands, players can feel the weight and precision of each portal placement, making the game's intricate puzzles even more immersive and engaging. The familiar voice of GLaDOS echoing around you becomes more menacing, heightening the sense of being trapped in her labyrinthine experiments. The spatial challenges of Portal, already a mind-bending experience in traditional gameplay, take on a new depth and complexity when players can physically look around, beneath, and through their surroundings. It's a surreal blend of challenge and immersion, making the world of Portal feel both familiar and entirely new. The VR mod has been heavily tested for the single-player mode of Portal 2, but should also fully work in co-op multiplayer, though this hasn't been extensively tested yet. It introduces motion controls for the portal gun, 6DoF room scale movement, and a host of other features to make for a great VR experience. Though the entire game is playable from start to finish in VR now, there still may be things that could use polishing or issues that need to be ironed out. Already, Gistix has pushed out several fixes and updates due to player feedback. Join the Discord for updates, issue reporting, or to get help. And Elliot links the Flat to VR Discord here and the link to download the mod from GitHub. All right, Ruuts, so Portal VR, this is something that we have heard people for years wish for. This is kind of falls into the same category that Half-Life used to be in once upon a time. And here we are. It is being made a reality through the magic of modding.
It can't be done though because of motion sickness.
Right. Well, exactly. I've heard that a million times. But here we are again, Ruuts. Another popular IP that neither of us have ever played, now fully playable in VR.
That's crazy. I know. I just went and checked to see if I own it, and I guess I do own it. I think I went into there was a mod or it was really janky, and I went in for like a minute, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. This was years ago. And so yeah, I've never played it. Paul Bellino was saying $10 super chat. What you said, it's funny for years. I heard this could not be done because of motion sickness, and yet here it is. I cannot wait to play it. It's still one of the best and most imaginative games ever made. And from what I remember, it's like a very well thought out puzzle game, right? Like you're using those portals to Wes and I were looking at it. I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on when I was watching that trailer. It's just crazy. It looks super cool, and I can't wait to check it out in VR.
Michelle B says on sale for 99 cents.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, if anybody that, because it's so cheap, you should buy it, and then you should throw a $5 or $2 as a donation to the modders, because, that would benefit them, and they do so much work for us, right? How many games now are we playing that are AAA in VR because of modders? So.
Right. Paul Bellino, thank you for the $10 chat. You are awesome. I appreciate the support, and I appreciate the comment. You're right. For years, people said this couldn't be done because of motion sickness, but I didn't see anything particularly in that 2.5 minute gameplay there that seemed particularly uncomfortable compared to today's modern VR games. Here's the thing, though, Ruuts. When I look at this, and when I've ever looked at any kind of footage of Portal, it looks pretty bland and empty to me. I'm wondering how much of this is actually, how much of this is nostalgia and how much of this is actually good. Now, I get it. This was a revolutionary game during its time. My question to all of you out there that have played this is honestly, how much does this game hold up to modern standards? Am I going to get in here and be blown away? Or as someone who holds no nostalgia for this title, am I going to get into this thing and be bored? Because again, it looks pretty barren in there and colorless, and there's not much action going on. I get it; it's a puzzle game. There's not going to be a lot of action. Does it hold up? Should I try this out? Let me know in the chat and the comments down below.
Chris Richardson says, "Dude, just play it. Come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah." Well, have you seen the release schedule? We're going to look at the release schedule in a minute, and you're going to see why I don't just hop on every mod that comes out. Like we have to pick and choose what we play.
Absolutely.
We don't have time.
And he's not even taking into consideration, Baldur's Gate that we just talked about, and hardcore World of Warcraft. That's me. I got to worry about. But like, there's just so many things that take our time, right? And we just want to jump into every single mod out there, especially if it's just because it's a nostalgia Half-Life, or I guess Valve game that I don't really care about. I'm not even a puzzle person. It looks cool, I
am a puzzle person. I like puzzle games. Chris Richardson says it's a lab, but it opens up. Looper the Underground Gamecast says you shouldn't even hesitate. ET2K9.now depends on how you feel about the puzzles. I like puzzles. So, I mean, if it's a good puzzles, then I'll enjoy it.
And Michelle B says less than a coffee, do it. Well, it's not even less than a coffee. I own it.
It's
I'm
the
sure
time.
Bash owns
It's my time.
It's the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my time. Should I waste my time on it? Yeah, money isn't a question. It's should I put my time into it?
Chris says it's all, it's everything. It has 100% to do with nostalgia. Oh, wait, no, zero to do with nostalgia. Okay, well, that's the thing.
Well.
Yeah.
All right. Chrome Colossus is very well stylized, always holds up better, and it's a novel core gameplay mechanic.
Okay.
Okay. Old Dar says the gameplay is awesome. Looper says just do it.
It's got so it's not also story based, Wes. Its writing is amazing. Is amazeballs. Chris Richardson says this is my thing. This would be the only caveat I would. This is one game that I would actually want to jump on the chance to jump in with Wes, because I'm not a puzzle person, and if it's co-op and I have somebody that can like help me get through it, so I can experience this amazing amazeball writing story, I'm doing it. I want it. Can
Hopefully
we do 3?
It works.
3 for MASH too? Can we get MASH in there? Or
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
And Scott says it's funny as F as well.
Oh.
Well, that's always a big plus. So hopefully we can do the co-op in it. Gamertag earlier in chat said that the co-op wasn't currently working, but Elliot in his article says that it should work, and that guy would know. I mean, Elliot's kind of the godfather of VR modding, so he's pretty informed.
It makes sense, Wes. I was just thinking as we were talking about it and discussing co-op before people in the chat said, I was like, well, wow, Wes is saying, they're saying it's funny, and you're co-op, you're not going to want to be talking during different things. How would that work? Well, apparently it's co-op specific puzzles. So it's not like the main story that you would be playing. You'd be playing through specific puzzles together, which I guess is kind of cool in and of itself, right?
Yeah, extra content's always good. Bluebell, $9.99 donation. I'm late, but I would never miss this. Thank you, Wes and Ruuts, for all your hard work. Thank you for your support and appreciation. I don't think anyone appreciates us quite as much as Bluebell, Ruuts.
Yep, absolutely. And John Savino, being old sucks. I'm always late to the party. Nah, man, I'll tell you what, everybody that's late, you're right on time. And I don't know, this is the time, Wes. Having gray or just being older and wiser is a good thing, because not everybody in the younger generation, and it's not our audience, everybody here is not in that category, but some people are just not very sharp when it comes to
young people are dumb, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unless you're watching this, then you're wise beyond your years.
Yeah,
everyone else, dumbasses.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that is going to wrap up this week's headlines and get us into the week's reminders. There's some shit coming out this week, Ruuts. It's starting. It's starting this week, and it's crazy.
I'm Iris, the researcher. I'm actually pretty new myself. This is my first time supporting a Magus. Whoa! Did you take a good photo? Told you to buzz off! Okay, our very first quest. Let's go!
PlayStation.
RUINSMAGUS complete. Cast its spell on PlayStation VR 2 this week. This article from xrupdate.com. I'm not going to read it, but you can go to xrupdate.com and check it out if you're interested in what the features, how it's going to support PSVR 2. We detail that in this article. Just to touch on a few of the higher points here. Updated haptics and trigger support for this game is kind of the big feature that they integrate into it. What makes it RUINSMAGUS complete, though, Ruuts? That's the question. Because I watched some reviews on it earlier today, and people saying, well, you know, it says that it's RUINSMAGUS complete, but it's exactly the same as the Steam version. That's true, but it's not exactly true. The truth of the matter is that this version of RUINSMAGUS includes all the DLC, some of which is paid. Specifically, the Warrior and the Taylor DLC is a paid DLC on Steam. So if you pick this game up on Steam, not only are you not going to have the PSVR specific features like the haptics and stuff, but you're going to pay $35 for the base game and then another $6 for the DLC, bringing the grand total to $41. RUINSMAGUS complete on PlayStation VR 2, Ruuts, $29.99.
Wow.
$11 discount versus retail price on Steam.
Wow.
Which, if it is a 1-to-1 port, is a 25% discount, which is incredible.
Sounds like it's complete, Wes. That's what's crazy. I don't know where the confusion is. It literally sounds like a complete package, and so I think the name RUINSMAGUS complete actually fits even outside of the PlayStation VR 2 upgrades with adaptive triggers and so forth. Super cool. Even the audio, it says enhanced 3D audio. I think everything here is everything that you see that's new, and most people might not, because everybody's so graphics focused, right? They say, well, it's the same. Well, you know, everything there is immersion, right? So, like, it's VR. Everything there makes a big difference on top of the DLC that you're getting included. So, yeah, I think it's cool.
And for those of you who are struggling to find information on the Warrior and the Taylor DLC, here's a little bit from xrupdate.com. This information comes directly from the Steam page for RUINSMAGUS. Among the included content is the Warrior and the Taylor DLC, accessible after completing Chapter 5 of the game. This DLC is a brand new side story involving a unique boss battle and allows players to unlock new costumes for the character Iris. The additional area also brings 9 new headwear and 5 new costumes for Iris to don. So the DLC Ruuts not only contains a considerable amount of cosmetics for the game, but it also contains a brand new original side quest complete with boss battle, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, super cool. And like I was saying during the video, there's nothing like this in VR or on the PlayStation VR 2 platform. People are saying it looks like anime. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely super cool. If you're an anime fan, think you'll like it. If you're an RPG person, I think you'll like it. So, it's cool.
How weird is it when I see these little anime girls on these trailers and I think to myself, hey, that kind of looks like Brad.
Well, I'll tell you what, he uses a lot of these cool skins, so it doesn't surprise me. Brad is multifaceted.
Looper says it's a dressing room and a boss battle. Okay.
Well, it's a dressing room
Fair
and a
enough.
boss battle. Well, it is what it is. It's definitely DLC, and it costs. But the game in general, right, is worth picking up, and $30 for what you're getting here is worth it, right? So
Yep, absolutely. This is a $30 game all day. Although I haven't tried the PlayStation VR version of it yet, I will be trying it out this week, and we can talk about it maybe on Friday.
Yeah.
Well,
adaptive trigger support, enhanced 3D audio, enhanced haptic sequences, and HMD rumble support. I can't imagine it not being a better version, but I guess time will tell, right? We'll let you guys know.
Looper also says the game itself is dope. I agree. It's the dopest of the genre.
Tech's not a big fan. Anime's voices cuts me. Tech, if I'm being honest, I don't like anime. I think there's like an age gap. Like my son's age, my friend Josh is like 4 or 5 years older than him. They love anime. They love it. For me, it's cool. It's not for me. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Although I'm sure there's some out there that I would probably like.
Right.
I don't have time to kind of sift through the thousands and thousands of series to figure out which ones are good and which ones aren't.
Yeah, I guarantee. I know that I saw the Sword Art Online. That was cool. I like the premise, although I would never want to get stuck in VR.
Old Darth with the $20 Canadian, a small token of appreciation for all that you do for VR, the VR devs, the VR community. Thanks. P.S. How is this Uncharted coming along? I tried the Lost Legacy Uncharted in VR. We haven't done Lost Legacy yet. Ruuts and I are finishing up 4 right now, and Eric is supposed to get started on it this week. So hopefully within a week to 2 weeks, Eric will be caught up enough that we're able to kind of cover it. But I've said it before. I'll say it again, Ruuts. This is one of the coolest things I've ever played in VR. It's one of the best games of all time, period. And the fact that you can play it in VR is just a bonus.
Yeah, everything about it. Now, I would even say that playing it in VR, the way we're playing it is almost preferable. For me, it's preferable than having actual touch controllers. The aiming with the head, I really like it. So.
Speak of the devil, Eric shows up in chat, says, well, look at all the VR people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, there's a few of them in here, bro.
He's on it.
He's on it. All right,
nice.
Cool. Sweet.
I might have to go in there tonight after the show. I have not been in there for a while, and I'm like right on at the end. I need to just finish it, put a nail in it. And it's not like I should feel too sad because I have a whole nother DLC I can play through if I really want to. So.
Yeah, me too. So maybe that's the way that it happens. Since Eric's here, Ruuts, why don't you really quickly show him my Gazzlers score so he knows that I'm better.
Oh, yeah. Check this out, Eric. Okay. When you're going to think Brad's here. He's not here. He was, but he's not here anymore.
Look at that, Mash. What are you going to do, bro? Go pick up your controller, son. You got some work to do.
Oh, my God. He just...
Boom.
Gauntlet dropped, son. All right. Let's see. What else? Oh, Ruuts, there is something else significant out this week. There's a lot of stuff out this week, but there's something that we've been waiting on for a very, very long time.
Something extra special.
Extra special. Dude, that looked chaotic. What was that, Portland?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it looked almost as crazy as Portland. I think Portland's got a little bit more than that.
Right. Hellsweeper VR out this week on all major VR platforms concurrently. We've been waiting a very, very long time for this. The first demo years ago was awesome. The last demo months ago was awesome. This game is going to be awesome. I don't know. I'm sure people are going to complain because, it is pretty much an arena battler. There's only going to be a handful of different arenas to fight in, but the diversity of gameplay here is on its own level. There's so many different ways that you can fight in this game, Ruuts, and you can combine your abilities. You can make your gun into a magic gun, or you can make your staff into a magic staff, or have a staff gun. Like, you can combine things, and on top of all that, revolutionary movement for VR. You're going to be running off of walls and flipping in midair, shooting things above your head while your feet are pointed toward the sky. Just chaos in VR, and I can't wait to play it some more.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. And this is a first for PlayStation VR 2. They haven't had this type of mechanic to like Sirento, right? They never got that in the first VR, or did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Sirento was out on PSVR.
Oh God, how was it? Very popular. I'll tell you what, the gameplay does look next level to me, and I agree with Techno Glitch. Broken PSVR 2s, possibly this week, because it looks crazy.
I played it seated, bro, and I'm going to continue to play it seated because that is the safe thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. I play almost everything seated, just because I stand up for work all the time so much. But there was something I played the other day, and I was like, there was no way I could do it seated. Maybe Gazzlers, I think.
Yeah.
Because there were really need to move around, to dodge those bullets.
Yeah, I played that one seated, but you're right. There was something recently that I had to stand up for. I didn't want to sit down for it, but it escapes me at the moment what it was.
You kidding me? You're crazy, Wes.
You're chasing a leaderboard on that game. You could increase your score, I guarantee 10% at least, just by having more mobility with your bullets, right?
I'll get tired by the time I get through the third level. I just block it all, dude. I just use my shield and block everything that comes.
I tried to do that, but sometimes you have to move, right? Your shield's depleted, and
occasionally you do. But here's the cool thing about that is that the only hits that score are the ones that hit you in the head. So like you don't have an in-game body that you're dodging with. It's just your head.
Really?
So
okay.
Yeah. So you just got to move your head a little bit to dodge this stuff.
You know who's really good at moving their head, Wes?
I did.
Yeah, she's talented.
Although I will admit, when you get to like the boss fight with the monster truck thing, like it fires some projectiles at you that are in a pattern that it's pretty hard to block.
Just shield up.
So you'll need to move a little bit for that one, but for the most part, you can just block it all with your shield.
Now you're making me want to play Gazzlers. Damn it.
Yeah, me too. Well, let's get this damn show over with and look at what else is out this week. There's a lot of stuff out this week and this month, so let's take a look at the XR update release calendar. So you see there, RUINSMAGUS is out, Hellsweeper's out, Broken Edge is out this week on PSVR 2, enhanced version for PSVR 2 as always. Check this out, Ruuts. I don't think anybody knows this one yet. The events at Unity Farm is going to drop this week. You remember this, Ruuts? We played a demo for this during Next Fest, and it was a substantially long demo. Remember?
No. Okay, a couple things. I'm looking at you, Calligrapher, and you skipped right over that. It says all day on September 2nd. And then the second thing is, this is the second time I don't know if you've got a different version, but you'll be talking about something that's not on my list, or at least on the XR update releases. Do I have to change something?
Maybe. Yeah, I added the Unity Farm thing in there today, so maybe you're looking at an older version of the web page.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I just need to. I pulled it up for the show before the show, and since then, Wes, being the busy beaver he is, and his bosses, I know they're out there. What an employee you got, man. He's always fucking working. But yeah, no, actually, let me say, I kind of remember it. It looks cool. So what was the premise of it?
So it was like it was a story-based game that puts you into this kind of like, well, the demo puts you out in this kind of field, and there were zombies everywhere that you kind of had to blast with magic to kill them. And then the story takes place in these kind of like little clips of ghosts and things that you watch play out in front of you.
Okay.
And then you might remember that you make your way into like this hedge maze, and there's spiders in the hedge maze. I remember specifically warning people to watch out for the spiders in that thing. And then there was like a boss fight with like this flying witch thing at the end of the hedge maze.
Oh, cool.
And that was where the demo ended. But it was a pretty cool demo for what was a very promising indie game.
Oh,
and
cool.
That game is launching into early access on the 23rd. So less than a week away for that one.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this: do you know what the Paper Beast Enhanced Edition? What is enhanced about it? Is it just visually, or I mean, because that game was kind of cool anyway to begin with.
Off the top of my head, I'm not real sure. I do think that it's going to have full locomotion now versus the teleport only it had before. But I'm not sure what like the. I mean, I'm sure it will probably use some of the haptics and stuff, but I can't say for sure off the top of my head what the enhanced edition is going to entail completely.
Cool. Well, sounds cool.
But that's out in 2 weeks, so we'll talk about that more next week. I'll have those answers for you next week.
Cool. Something to look forward to.
Or no secret Ruuts. You could go play it right now.
Oh shit. Well, maybe I ought to go do that. Actually, I really kind of enjoyed it. It was different. It was more of an exploration story without actually. I just think it's very done very well. So.
Agreed, and I look forward to checking it out in that big OLED panel because that world was just cool looking in regular VR. So
I wonder if they have used the foveated rendering.
I don't know. Again, tune in next week. I'll have all these answers.
Nice.
Anyway, that's what's out this week. Again, keep an eye out on xrupdate.com release calendar. We're updating it all the time. Anytime a release date drops, we're adding it in here.
I'm going to post. So I'm going to book or link it here, and people would be good to just bookmark it, and then you know what's coming out. Because I was telling D, I said, man, like, there's nowhere to find where games are. Like, generally, Wes is usually digging through for our show. So I guarantee if it's coming out and it's worth playing, it's on this list. So I mean,
we don't put everything on here, but anything is worth a shit we do. Like there's no slap fight on here, but the events at Unity Farm is. So.
Is NFL Pro Era 2, is that a sequel or is that just an updated version? Or
no, that is the sequel. Head-to-head multiplayer in that one too, Ruuts.
Oh Jesus, man, I didn't even know. That's cool. Well, I'll tell you what, that's what people want, man. We want the actual real football games, and this is a good start, you know.
Absolutely right. Looking forward to checking that out, see how it goes. The Walking Dead Onslaught, the dog shit that Ruuts was talking about earlier. Mickey Barrios dropping a key for it. It's not dog shit, ladies and gentlemen. It's all right.
If it's free, it's worth playing through, and then you can see how much dog shit, or maybe you disagree. Walker's got me, you know.
It's fine. It's an average game that should have been above average.
Right. And it was expectations. It was The Walking Dead. At that time, my opinion of that studio was way higher, so I thought, man, this thing's going to be a banger. And it was worth playing.
They're working on Aliens now, Ruuts.
That's what's who was it that Gilman, I think, or somebody was talking about that to me, and they were saying they were excited about it. Maybe it was somebody in my stream, I can't remember, and that was exactly what I said. I said, my only thing is I was there for Onslaught, so just the name saying Aliens doesn't make me excited. I just hope that I know a big part of why Onslaught was just okay was because they pivoted halfway through because The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners was coming out, and they said, oh shit, And so maybe if they start from the beginning and finish the game, Aliens can be amazing. So, and yeah,
Here's
I
the
agree.
thing, man. The some of the developers recently did a Q&A, and they were asked about that game, and they said that the Aliens game is planned to be a spiritual successor to Alien Isolation.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say to Onslaught. So, we think we did a really good job. And like, are you kidding me? No, that's actually Alien Isolation is amazing. It's one of GT's favorite games, so I would say that's a good sign.
Anyway, let's take a look at some viewer comments. Starting with Zach Wilder 14 says, "It's Eric coming at you live from the bottom of a well." That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. Going back and watching the episode, although people must like it when Eric comes to us from the bottom of the well, because we're about to crack 11,000 views on that episode.
That's crazy, right? Maybe the well, maybe that was just like the icing on the cake. But yeah, that's crazy.
Jank Media 1985 says, "We need more third-person platformers. Moss 1 and 2, Lucky's Tale, Astrobot are more than enough proof that show how awesome those kind of games are in VR." Completely agree. I would throw Vin VR Adventure into that.
Oh, dude, that's one of
as
the best
well.
ones. I think
Yeah,
VR
so
is
I'm-
probably better than every one of those games, platformer wise, because Moss isn't really a platformer except Astrobot, and Astrobot is just because every level is just thought outside the box and was more like a Mario game. But Vin VR is more like a traditional third person platformer that's hard as hell, and that's what I like. I mean, I'm a little biased. That's the type of platformer I love.
Vin VR Adventure coming to PlayStation VR 2 later this year, enhanced. Looking forward to that. And Max Mustard, another notable title coming to VR platforms later. Well, I don't know if it's coming this year, early next year, but looks promising.
Vin VR should have the Ruuts and West, or the West and Ruuts, however they want to go first mode. Just the fucking hard mode, the original mode, the OG. That would be awesome.
Agreed. They should have a director's cut with the original levels in it, the way that they used to be.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Before they nerfed it for all the babies.
Those babies.
I want a lot. Says, loving Firewall. I only play PvE and never seem to be waiting in lobbies anymore. Ranking up well since assignments. Got up 4 levels yesterday in about 2.5 hours. And got a heap of crypto. Addicted all over again. So it seems like slowly but surely, Ruuts, they're finally ironing out Firewall and turning it into what we always knew it would be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Somebody in the chat, though, and I can't remember, I think it was Brandon or somebody said they are still having issues. I don't know if it was their specific thing or what issues were still going on with Firewall. But there's still a little bit of issues, but obviously, clearly, I Want a Lot is not having issues. So,
well, some people are having it different than others, man. I never had any issues with it, and then other people never got it to work at all. So who knows?
It could be something that's only thing that would make sense that's different, because the platform's all the same, right? You got the same PS5s, maybe a little bit different as far as performance. Maybe the silicone's a little bit better on one versus the other, but your internet would be the only thing that would be the variable, right? That could be different. That could somehow fuck things up. And how do they? I don't know. I guess there's got to be ways to fix that, but I know they're working on it. And
that's a good point. You know, how often do multiplayer games actually have to take shit from people who have shitty, networking? Right. I'm not saying that that's the problem with Firewall. It's another variable that some people might not think about. Everyone just assumes that everyone has perfect internet, and if their game drops, it's not the fault of their router, but actually it's Firewall's fault, right?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely can be a lot of issues. You know, you could have some kind of I don't know, I guess there's not many mods. But I've seen people disconnecting games like 5 times in a row. As soon as they get in, they disconnect again. Not because of conflicts. So who knows?
Shout out Guido. Devil is due 1 says, "Hey Wes, I seen on Parole you say you have 2 subscriptions to PS Plus for online. Do you not have one set up as a master account so you don't need 2 subscriptions?" Here's the thing. I have 2 consoles. Actually, I have 4 consoles now. And the idea behind having the 2 PS Plus accounts is so that at any given time, someone can come in here and be on this console, and be on another person can be in the next room on the other console, and we can play together. I have 5 people that live here, so by having 2 subscriptions, any one of the 5 can play on either one of the consoles and have the multiplayer enabled for them. So that's why I have 2. Hussein X says, "Hopefully Steam consoles make PCVR very accessible cost-wise. Maybe it will allow devs to optimize VR games for those Steam consoles too, meaning great performance for the price as well." I mean, in a perfect world, that would be great. I certainly think it's possible that they could make it so that PCVR or PC gaming in general is affordable through these consoles. Now, developing and optimizing for the box is a different thing entirely, because at the end of the day, these are still going to be PC games, which means that even if we sell 20 million of these boxes, developers are still going to have to take into account all the different PCs and all the different configurations of hardware. So while we might see some movement in that direction and things get to be a little bit better, the same way that games are kind of being optimized for Steam Deck now, they could be optimized for this Steam box. But in both cases, you're still talking about PC games at the end of the day, and the same dynamic that has always been present for PC gaming will continue to be in play here. So,
what are the thoughts on the headset itself also having computing power enough to between the two, it makes it even more, right? Like, cause we're all, I mean, obviously they're not going to make it super light or heavy, but if they could combine the two, they could, make it just as good as PCVR, right?
So. Yeah, I think that the onboard compute with the Deckard headset, and again, this is all hypothetical. Nobody knows what it's going to be. I would imagine that that's there mainly to act as a decoder for the wireless. So, like, they're going to encode the data, send it through a virtual display port in midair, and then have it decoded on the headset. That's just my theory on that. But yeah, you're right. There is the possibility there that they could leverage that to up the quality level.
Especially if they're using DisplayPort. If you're not doing the wireless, maybe you get a better bump up of fidelity. Chris Richardson says, $2 donation. Thanks for the news. Now play Portal 2. Damn it. Okay, so you're just gonna have to do it, Wes. We're gonna have to do it.
He gave us $2 so that I could buy a copy and you could buy a copy, right?
That's right. And Bluebell wants to know if we talked about Unity yet or if at all, which we have not. I'm sure that conversation will come up on an episode in the future. I have not looked into it too much, but I definitely think it's a very potentially crappy thing. So
yeah, well, the way it went down is crappy. There's no question about that. I did write an article on it. You'll find that on xrupdate.com.
Ooh.
You'll also find it on the cutting room floor. If you're a patron, you scroll down to the bottom of the show notes. I've got my Unity article linked down in the Metaverse Money and More section.
Look at that, Wes. This is if you don't have a reason to be a patron besides the fact that you want to have a vote in the end of the year conversation, right, for Game of the Year and all of the categories. You got the editor. This is all your shit here, man. This is good news.
Yeah. So Yeah, I put a lot on the cutting room floor today because it's been a couple weeks since they got one from me, so I wanted to make this one good. So we got a good 10, 12 days worth of news in there, and everything good that's been out on XR Update over the last week to week and a half is on there as well, including my article on Unity. But I'll give you the Cliff's Notes. The basic gist of the article is whether or not the Unity deal turns out to be fair or unfair doesn't really matter at this point because of the way they rolled it out and just surprised all the developers with it. They have now violated their trust. So it doesn't matter if it's fair or not fair. All that matters is that the developers think that it isn't. And
they feel screwed.
That's a big problem. That's a big problem for Unity. So they have some work to do with regard to mending those relationships if they hope to keep people from leaving in droves like they're all promising that they're going to do now.
Chris, what do you think about if I just decided to play Portal 2 flat? Would that, I mean, it's pretty much the same, right? It's Portal 2. No, just kidding. He's like, he probably just threw something at the TV. Fuck you, Ruuts.
Baron says, Unity said today, we will be making changes to the policy. We will share an update in a couple of days. Thank you for your honest and critical. Yeah, their hand is forced, man. We're talking about hundreds of studios that have said, you know what? We're not staying on Unity if this is how it is.
Yeah. Well, good. Good for them. This is the thing. It's why unions work. We stand together, and a lot of things can be changed. So.
Chris Richardson says that Unreal mod is looking better and better. Isn't it, though?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. There's a couple things that Unreal Engine mod. There's so many possibilities, so many games. But there's two games that I look forward to the most. One is It Takes Two. This is one of the best games I've ever played. Played through with MASH, co-op. Best co-op game I've ever played. And I forget what the other one was. But I just, I'll come to me in a second. There's the Back for Blood. Like, I want to play Back for Blood with Wes and Eric and Mr. Task, because I know he loves being the medic, and Techno Glitch, and I got D, and there's like all these people that play that game anyway flat. It's like so amazing, and now we're gonna be able to play it together in VR, and it's super cool.
It is super cool. Coming soon, from what I hear. Anyway, where was I? Oh, Zippies left a comment that says, great to hear about the roadmap on ALVO. Sounds really good. I also think the gameplay looks better than I thought already, and it sure looks fun. Thank you, Zippies. ALVO is fun, Ruuts. It's too bad that our stream got cut short. We're going to have to stream it again sometime soon. As soon as you guys left, I accidentally left the lobby, and when I tried to go back in, the back end server went down, so everyone got kicked out. Everyone got this error message that said that you need to update your game, but then it wouldn't let anybody update. It just wouldn't let anybody back in the game.
That's crazy. What is that? I mean, it was a sign that it was time to go to bed.
Yeah, it was. But it was fun though. We had a good time playing the hard point mode, and I do believe that we will be back in ALVO very soon, because it's fun and everybody likes it. And
I'm not going back in again, Wes, until with everybody else, until I've at least got a sight on my gun. Because I told D, I said, man, what a disadvantage for those of us that had no sight on our guns to those that did. Like, if you have an optic sight, that's a big deal to be able to know exactly where you're shooting. But I still actually had really good scores. So it was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. Handy Capable Gamer 372 says, great show as always. Would really like to enter the giveaway for ALVO on PSVR 2. Ruuts. We have games to give away, bro.
Oh my
Two
God.
of them.
I can't believe it. And actually, I got to go to the next scene for it, but somebody was excited, Wes, and
Yeah.
showed up. Yes, I think it was on this
Who
scene.
you-
Maybe it was on the other scene. Let me see. Somebody was there ready to go. Oh, there she is.
Ah, there she is.
Yeah.
You get a game, and you get a game, and you get a game. You guys know the drill here. We've done this many times before. We opened up entries through our last episode. All you had to do to enter the giveaway was leave a comment that said that you wanted to enter the giveaway. Make sure you're subscribed, and you got assigned a number. 24 people, Ruuts, entered into this giveaway.
Oh, wow.
2 of which are about to win a copy of ALVO on the platform of their choice. We now move on to the random.org random number generator to tell us who these people are.
Nice. While it's pulling it up, Tom Flesh Eater Gaming wants to know if you can play the VR1 can play with VR2 players in ALVO. I'm sure you can, right?
Yes, full cross-platform compatibility on day one. PSVR 1 players can play with PSVR 2 players, can play with Quest players, and then coming soon to Steam, and it will be cross-play on Steam on day one as well. Everyone can play together, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can turn cross-play off.
Yeah.
There's an option for it.
That's good. And some people wonder why you would do that, and sometimes you just don't want to play with a different platform. Maybe your internet's a little bit slow, and you want to minimize. So I don't know.
Options. There's options for everyone, Ruuts, and so yeah. And not only that, but if you have the PSVR 1 copy of it, you can buy up to VR2 for $5, and you get to bring your progression with you.
Oh God!
So everything you've unlocked gets to move over to VR2 whenever you're ready to make the upgrade.
And what I just said means a lot. From earlier to what Wes just said, you need that sight. You need the grenade that drops when you die, like Wes, or like D rather. She got a lot of kills that way.
D cheating on everybody, man. Just camping out, not even trying to hold the point, just staying hidden along the outskirts, picking people off. Rude, Ruuts, just rude.
That's the beauty. That's why I love Hardpoint, because you have a choice. It's like because like the very last game is a perfect example, because so the other team said, hey, well, we lost, but we had more kills. Well, the name of the game isn't team deathmatch, who has the most amount of kills. It's Hardpoint, who held the hardpoint till you get to the top point. And so that's why I like it. It forces people to get out of that. I'm going to sit around and shoot. Now you can have somebody just sit around and kill people, and they'll pad their record, and but that doesn't help the team any more than like on the flip side, where if you're team deathmatch and you just run in all the time and keep dying, it's bad for the team. That's kind of why I lean against away from team deathmatch, because I don't want my performance to affect the team.
Right.
So.
I'd rather just do free for all, right?
Yeah. Or Hardpoint,
same type of gameplay.
Because I'm good at running in and holding. I'll die a bunch of times, but I'm going to get in there, and you're going to lose the Hardpoint, and we're going to take it. And I might die 5 times to do it, but I'm going to die 5 times, and I'm going to do it. So
that's right. I never had the most kills during our whole gameplay session the other day, and I often died. But you know what I didn't do, Ruuts? I didn't lose.
Yeah,
I won every time.
Damn, that's good. You're on the right teams.
That's right. I was always on the team that had 5 players.
He says, I don't camp. That's Mash's job. Oh, man. My thing is if it's Hardpoint, you know where I'm going to be. I'm looking for the Hardpoint. I might make my way on a way where I can start looking to where you're coming from and pick you off and then go in. But I'm definitely next to the Hardpoint somewhere.
Sure. Anyway, 2 copies to give away. Platform of your choice. Random.org. Random number generator. Tell us, who is the first winner?
Excited.
First winner is number 16.
Oh, that's me. No, it's not me.
And number 16 is, give me just a moment, 12, 14, 15, 16, Green Captain.
Nice.
Now, here's the thing. When I look at these comments, it doesn't show people's username always. It shows sometimes it shows alternate IDs for some reason. Like for example, Void Citizen's name shows up as Aubrey Mayfield sometime or something like that, or either that or they have similar. They have a similar profile pic. Maybe I'm just wrong about that. Anyway, who did I say? The one Green Captain. Congratulations! Hit me up on Discord to claim your copy and let me know what platform or what region. He says PSVR 2. Let me know if it's NA or EU, and we'll get your key out to you ASAP. Winner number 2 is 18. 18 is Old Darth.
Hey.
Congratulations, Old Darth. Tag me up on Discord. Let me know what platform or what region, rather, you would like your key to be on, and we will get your copy of ALVO out to you ASAP. Congratulations, Old Darth. Congratulations, Green Captain. You are the winners of the day.
In the chat, Old Darth says, "Damn, so close." And then he said, 18, baby, come on, 18. And like winky face, and then it comes up 18. What are the odds? That's crazy, man. That's cool.
Yeah, that is crazy. That just goes to show, Ruuts, we manifest our reality. All it takes is some nicely honed intention, and you can make anything happen. I mean, look at me, dude. I'm working in the VR industry just a few years after we started on this.
Yeah. Well, and and the thing is you kept saying that it was going to happen someday. And like you said, you put it out there and you made it happen.
The most powerful force in the universe, Ruuts, is faith.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta have faith.
Well, I was just telling somebody that today. I think it might have been Dee, but at least this is my belief. God created everything with speaking. You know, he said, let there be light, and there was light. And so and we're made in his image. So words have power, especially if you're positive. And you call them affirmations, whatever you want. You want to, look in the mirror and say that you're happy. And what was it that he said on Saturday Night Live? I think that stuff really works. Oprah is another example. I think didn't she have a journal or something that she used to write down and stuff? Like putting it out there and actually believing in it really actually works. Talk to Skiva.
Yep.
Skiva's a big believer of this kind of stuff. So.
Yep. Words have power, and a wise man once said, "I've got to have faith, the faith, the faith."
He made a lot of money with that too.
Yeah, he did. Eric says it's rigged. So you know what, guys? Fuck it. I'm not ever doing another giveaway.
Dude, you know what? I'll tell you what. I think it's funny Eric says that because he's had that said so many times on and Q2C, and it's so ridiculous. Like anybody would want to rig anything. Although I love Old Darth. And I'd love to, that he got the game, but I love SpryGuy and Michelle B and John Savino, and you enter anybody's name on there. If they're here, I want them to win. So
almost all of them. You guys are like, the chat is nearly full of awesome people.
Yeah, there's one or two, and you know who you are.
Oh, it's that time, Ruuts. It's that time for us to go support our local VR game devs by wishlisting a game. This week's game, I think it very much in need of some lifting because we're going ultra indie this week, Ruuts. Indie game devs, Titan One Studios, the events at Unity Farm. We talked about it earlier. I'm giving them my vote this week, and if you're interested in helping along with that, I'm going to drop the link in chat right now. You'll also find the link in the description down below. So if you would, please take a moment with us right now to go and wishlist this game or any other game that you would like to support. Just a couple clicks, and it means the world to these developers.
Yeah, I'm having really big issues with Steam. It's like lagging. I'm trying to type it in. I have Sonic the Hedgehog, that open world game in my cart.
Yeah.
Because it's on sale for half price. What are the odds? Because I'm thinking that would be such a great game for somebody to mod into VR. Somebody's going to have to bring that into VR soon, right?
For sure. It'll happen. They're all coming along at some point, Roots. It's inevitable.
Yep. Absolutely.
Paradise Decay joining us says, morning all, can't sleep. Storms. Yeah, storms will do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you gone into Baldur's Gate 3 yet? I was telling PD he hasn't picked it up. Man, you got to get that game because I want you to play with me, PD, and you're going to love it in Reshade.
Mickey Barrios dropping a key for the aforementioned Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets on Steam. Grab it up while you can. Thank you, Mickey, for being awesome as always.
All right, so the events at Unity Farm. I'm going to click on that and see if I can do that through my thing. Because like I said, I tried to go in there through my actual app, and it's just acting really weird. I don't like it.
Yeah. Hopefully these Steam VR consoles will eliminate all the jank that comes with PC gaming, right?
Yeah.
It'll just work.
That's
like
another
console does.
That's another thing that somebody made a comment on that made me think, and I forgot to say it. What are the odds that, like somebody said, do you still need a high-powered rig to be able to use that console, right? The whole console thing with the VR is you shouldn't even need to use anything. But what if you have like an average computer with it, and then then you could have really high-end gaming experience, right?
Yeah, I think it's an either or scenario. I think that the console is going to be something for people to use instead of a PC. I think if you have a beefy PC, you won't really have any use for the console, and I don't think that they'll work together. I could be wrong. That would be a great option if there was a way to make that happen, but I don't think that that's what's going on here.
Okay, well, that'd be cool.
Looks like PD's got a Portal 2 video out already, so PD can tell us if it's worth playing. Is it good, PD? Of course it's good.
It's a Valve game. It's like mediocre at best. No, just kidding. There's like 7 people that actually believe me and turned off the stream. All right, I got it. It's on my wish list.
All right. And with that said, that brings us to our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can support us, our channel, and our community. If you haven't already, please subscribe. All these people watching our video, Roots, but only a few of them subscribing. What do we got to do, man? We make all this content. We do it for absolutely free. And all we ask is that people subscribe. If you haven't already, it's a couple clicks. You can be notified. And this is why you want to be notified, because you're not going to know. We don't put it out there when Brad's on the show. Brad just shows up and talks about some shit.
Yeah.
You never know when we're going to break news like we did today with the pricing for RUINSMAGUS. That wasn't out there yet. We broke that news. The Unity Farms, nobody knew about that shit yet. We broke that news. How will you ever know? If you don't subscribe and ring the bell. So if you haven't already, please do that. If you already have done that, you want to do something extra, you can support us on Patreon. $3 per month. That's all we ask. You get access to our weekly show notes, which can be extensive at times, like they are today. You also get exclusive content. You get insider updates, all for less than $1 per week. And you get to feel good about yourself, knowing that you did your part to help us do things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do without your support. So thank you to everyone who left super chats today. Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. We really, really appreciate it. And again, you are making stuff happen that otherwise wouldn't be allowable. So thank you. We really appreciate it. Oh, also, we always forget to say the real cool things about being a patron. First of all, you get your name in the ticker at the end of the show. Second of all, you get to meet up with us in December and help us decide the winners of the 2023 show awards, which is probably the coolest thing our patrons get, right?
Yeah, and we've only done it once, but I'm sure it's not the last time. Like when we have a multiplayer game, like Walkabout or whatever, ALVO, we didn't do it this time, but sometimes it's for patrons, and we'll stream, and you'll get to be a part of the live stream. And this is Wes's genius with this. Is we're not just going to play games in there. Wes is going to get a discussion about VR going in. You're going to get to take part in the VR discussion like we do in a real-time review, which is pretty cool.
That's what happened with the laser layer, my friend. Exactly what happened.
Yep.
3 holes in 1, Ruuts. Still came in next to last place. What the fuck?
It's crazy though, man. It just tells you. But this is how Wes plays, man. If he's starting to fall behind, he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna go for the gold and see if he can catch up. That's why I like the that actual course. Not all of them are like this, but you should have the ability somehow to get a hole in one on every course, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, it may be some fucking crazy weird shot, but there should be a way to do it.
Paradise Decay says Portal 2 is on sale right now. Get it, Ruuts. He says it's 85 pence.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think I've got that in my pocket right now.
I guarantee 100% I don't have any pence in my pockets. I got 99 cents though. Wes. I got tons of quarters and dimes and nickels and pennies.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that? Well, I'll tell you what. Go back in time about a year and a half, and I legitimately said, "What is that? Why can't I get any change? Oh, change shortage."
I thought money was. I thought money was on cards.
Oh
it's all
yeah,
on cards now, right?
Yeah,
Chip cards.
You don't need this like dirty change anymore.
So yeah, thanks to all the patrons out there. And if you don't have money to support us on Patreon or leave super chats, that's fine. We get it. The economy's tough. We don't have much money either, so I completely get it. That's the good thing about our Discord. It's absolutely free. You can hang out with us on there 24/7, 365 if you want to. And you can ask us questions about VR or anything else for that matter. We all just typically hang out and lurk on there. When something notable pops off, we typically all just show up and start talking on it. Or if there's a police chase going on, I'll jump in and watch the cops try to run some poor soul down. But that's what we do. We hang out on there 24/7, 365, absolutely free. Invitation link in the description below. Come and join us. You will be greeted at the door, I assure you.
I'm always torn in those chases, Wes, because most times I'm rooting for the guy to get away. I'm like, go, dude, go. And then everyone's like, fucking get him. And I'm like, oh, yeah, get him. Because I don't want to, I don't want people to think I'm weird.
Yeah. I'm always rooting for the so-called bad guy. Like, sometimes I can't believe it. Like sometimes, when they're like in a stolen vehicle or something like that, I kind of get it. Or they're wanted for some violent crime. Sure, right. I'll root for the police in that. But sometimes it's just like, oh, that guy committed a mild traffic infraction, and now when we tried to pull him over, he wouldn't pull over. So now we're going to go on this 100 miles an hour chase through residential neighborhoods and put everyone's life at danger because that guy ran a red light and won't pull over. That shit pisses me off. I think they should just let these fucking people go and leave them alone. Because especially in places like Los Angeles with minorities, these people are afraid of the police. Just because they're running doesn't necessarily mean that they've done anything wrong.
That's true.
I mean, most of the times they have, but sometimes these dudes are just fucking scared and they don't want to get the shit beat out of them, so they run. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah,
I could sit here and talk shit on the police all day if I wanted to, but I won't.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is our show, ladies and gents. So I want to thank everyone who showed up, and I want to thank everyone who's watching this on the replay. Congratulations to our giveaway winners. Another thank you to Brad for joining us at the top of the show. And
Brad, you're awesome.
Giving us all some hopium to get us through another day. And yeah, with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts and Brad, I'm Wes. We will see you tomorrow, friends. Bye.
Hello. Take it easy.